People were like, what? And didn't go back to it. Masters was okay. I got to be honest, baby Jules. The wind made the course play probably a touch too hard.
Well, then the course didn't do it any favors by setting it up as hard as they did with the wind.
No, I think they're just worried with the distance they're hitting it today that the course is. They don't want the course to get. They don't want the COVID Masters when DJ won it at what 20, 22 under something ridiculous. How about those officials in the first semifinal, Paul? Okay, making sure that Denver won that game because that was ridiculous. BU not getting a power play in that game. There were 4 penalties minimum. I mean, legit penalties.
And Jules, everything's fine with Trent. He just, unfortunately, flight delayed last night. He wouldn't have got in till like 6:30 this morning, which is even worse because if I can't get a hold of him, I can't get us on the air.
Right.
Because they won't give me a password to any of the computers because I'm not a Beasley employee.
Of course, neither's Trent, but that's a whole other story.
Right.
Once again, it's tremendous cooperation.
And by tremendous, we mean none.
Right.
All right, I'm flipping this over.
But yeah, Paul, what are they, the Pioneers? What's that, number 10? That one diving save he made against BC, though, in the third was ridiculous. It's hockey, baby. Top of the morning to you on this Masters Monday. The NBA regular season is come and gone. The NHL playoffs will be upon us soon, as will the NFL draft. Hold on for this one thought. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to all of you. Trent not here again today. Travel issues. Mark's pulling triple duty again. Only this time he didn't bring a collared shirt, but he did wear a dark t-shirt, so when he starts panicking and sweating through it, it'll be more difficult to see. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Although, we're off to a rousing start. The show open didn't fire. I mean, it fired. The computer went. I think I have all the buttons pushed. The computer's on. I don't know. I hate starting the day off with an unknown like that.
Is that like a bad first tee shot? Does a bad first tee shot rattle you?
No, because I always have a bad first tee shot.
Oh, okay.
I have terribly nervy on the first tee. Had a terrible first tee shot on Friday.
Huh? Really? You're nervy on the first tee?
Yes.
Why is that? I would think because of what you did and what you still do. I mean, basically the start of a broadcast, the start of a show is a first tee shot.
It's a great way to look at it. This may change my whole golf game right there. That's an excellent point, David. I'm not even being facetious. That's a great point, but I'm nervous when I play golf, believe it or not.
Huh. I find that very interesting. I just would have thought. Now, we all have done games in which we're a little more excited, or we know it's a big game, or we're like, normally I got about 9 people listening today. I might have about 14. I mean, there are certain games in which we know a few more people might be listening, and then what have you. But, I'm surprised. I'm surprised, especially for the normal Wednesday, Friday. You're just heading on out. So I could understand like the member or something like that. But Scheffler is playing like he's just in a member. He doesn't seem nervous on any tee.
No, not at all. He played brilliantly again. Every once in a while, he'd make a slight mistake and give you the impression that this was actually a tournament that was going to be competed for by several players, and then he would shut the door.
And he's got a very, I'm hearing a lot of Pete Sampras, Tim Duncan like comparisons where it's like, hey, you better accept him, whether he's got the personality of a pet rock or not. You better accept him because he's really good and he's young and he ain't going anywhere in all likelihood. Or so we think. I mean, then again, Rory hasn't won a major in 10 years. But, I mean, Scheffler seemed almost annoyed, Mark, with all the, listen, can we get this interview over with? I got to go home.
There's no doubt.
I mean, he literally said, I'm just trying to answer your questions and go home. Okay. I don't blame you. I get it. But yeah, seems unflappable right now. Remember how Sampras and Tim Duncan were, in which you're like, wow, they're never. You're going to have to somehow beat them, and they're really, really good because they ain't going to beat themselves. Damn.
That is really the case with Scheffler. He was both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday there was a time that there was a big tie at the top of the leaderboard, and he made a couple of birdies and gave himself a slight cushion. And Morikawa was brilliant, getting close. On Sunday, all of a sudden, there's 4 of them tied once again. And what happens? That Scheffler just seems to be able to relax. 2 shots later, he stiffed one, and the tournament seems virtually over.
Yeah, I mean, he made the big shots Saturday. He's 2 back. He's fallen to 4th or 5th. And there was 1 eagle seemingly made on 13 and 15 all weekend. Who makes it? Scotty Scheffler on Saturday to get back into a tie for the lead. Okay, I'll take it from here, boys. And then on Sunday, we got another 4-way tie, and Scheffler hits it to 6 inches on 9. Plays the slope perfectly. Huh. After we just watched Homa and Oberg, and even though Oberg made the 30-footer, they both had the exact same half wedge in their hand. They didn't play it perfectly. They put it on the top tier. Morikawa put it in the bunker, made 6. What does Scheffler do? He puts it to 6 inches. Then Oberg's making a run, birdie in 13 and 14 to get within 2. And what does Scheffler do? Well, hell, he nearly holds it from the fairway on 14. Yeah, very machine-like. I felt like the field was Agassi in the mid-90s. Really good. No, they're good. And Scheffler was Sampras. Kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I will say, Oberg, what he did for 4 days, never seen. Well, he'd seen the golf course apparently, but never played a tournament. His first major. That was something.
right, not just first Masters, first major. And trying to become only the 4th golfer since 1900 to win their first major. I mean, that would have been Keegan Bradley did it in the PGA in 2011. Ben Curtis at the Open Championship in 03. And then you have to, Mark, of course, Francis, we met. I was there. It was a blustery day. But so, yeah, very impressive. You got to figure we're going to hear from that guy. Heck, we may hear from him in the summer.
In a month. Don't kid yourself. That game will travel.
Yeah. So is that it now for Tiger? Can we stop with the Tiger?
Well, I've stopped.
No, I know. I said, can we?
I don't know. I'm throwing the question right back at you. Can we?
I mean, is 82-77 on the weekend enough? Because one of the first comments in the Twitch chat room is, well, the one thing I learned this weekend, Tiger Woods is relevant. I'm sorry, he finished last. Wait, what are you talking about?
I will say I watched the feature group coverage on ESPN Plus both Saturday and Sunday to watch Tiger play.
Wow.
Combination, he's out there so early, the coverage doesn't begin till 3. I want to watch more Masters so I can put the features groups on and, see. Yesterday, a buddy of mine texted me and said, I hope Augusta set this up so they can get home on 15. I'm like, they can. I've been watching early round coverage. Guys are getting home. So it was my scouting report, but I was interested. It turns out that amateur, that Shipley, belongs to the same club that my mother-in-law belongs to. So on Thursday, when I had sent her out a text that Tiger tees off at 4:54, I always give her the Tiger heads up, particularly when there's a delay. And she came back with thanks, and Shipley's from St. Clair Country Club. I'm like, wow, that's pretty neat. And then he turns around and gets to play with Tiger Woods on Sunday.
And beats him.
Kind of drummed him.
Yeah, beat him by 4. Yeah. I have to admit, though, he seemed out of it in Butler's cabin there. I mean, I did somebody slip him a gummy or something? I mean,
well, I think they told him, okay, when they start doing the jacket, you got to get up and leave. And he didn't know when that was going to be. He looked like he was just ready for exit stage left as soon as he sat down. What was funny, his eyes were all over the place. And even like Nance said, he answered every question that was asked of him very intelligently, very forthright. I thought he did a good job with the interview, but the eyes were a wandering, David.
I know. I did he think is he wanted for something? Is there a warrant out for him? Or he kept looking around. I mean, Fred Ridley is talking to him. The chairman of the Masters is talking to him when he's looking over stage right. I mean, I know it was the anniversary of Lincoln getting assassinated and all, but really, you're safe, man. Butler Cabin, you're safe. All right. I mean, there's a place where they bring the president and the vice president, to hide them. And then the third option is Butler Cabin. I mean, honestly, you're good. Man. No litter, no squirrels. You're safe, man. Whew. So that I just found that interesting.
I'm with you. I look at he the eyes tell everything, and he was all over the place. He didn't know what to do.
No, he didn't. But I mean, the last hour and a half we had to entertain ourselves. I mean, as soon as Max Homa's ball bounced into the bushes and didn't come out on 12, I'm like, well, this sucker's over. I'll be damned. Unless Scheffler's going to pull a Spieth, or a Molinari, this baby is done. So, which is odd. You don't normally have a Masters that's over. Basically, it's like, well, we could eat now. Well, the Masters is on. Nah, it's over. You want to keep it on in the background, that's fine. But this sucker's over. What are you talking about? They haven't gotten to the par fives. Trust me, it's over.
Yeah,
We're
once
good.
Scheffler hit it on the green on 12, I was with you. I said the same thing out loud. My mom was over for dinner, and I'm just like, I was rooting for Homa. I was. And I'm like, just hit it to the middle of the green on 12. And let's see what can happen with the par fives. And he blew it long, and I said it out loud. I'm like, well, we're done. Time for dinner.
The one thing they may have to, you can't count on the wind every year. And it's obvious that the folks setting up the course, that they're terrified that with the distances that these guys are hitting it now, that this course, when it's really calm, can just be eviscerated, that it could turn into Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is too short. It just is. If there's no wind coming off the bay there, they're going to shoot 20 under at Pebble. And so there's only 8 guys that broke par, Mark. 8 guys broke par at the Masters. And that's highly unusual. But the other thing is 17 and 18 are playing as like 2 of the 3 or 4 toughest holes. They didn't never used to play that difficult.
17 especially.
Right. I mean, it's 400 yards, thereabouts. I mean, now they've lengthened it. But so that's what I'm curious about. Are they going to do something, they've extended the par fives to make them as long as possible. Now they're going to make the ball. They're going to take the R&A and USGA golf ball that's not going to travel as far in a couple years. I mean, are they going to take the roars out of the back nine? Miller and Moulton. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. MillerMoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ah, it's a good line, Coffin Ball. Whew. That's interesting, Paula. They put 4 guys in the top 10. Considering they only had 13 guys in the field. Tough in what way, Wes? Him retiring? Paula, you said something very nice in a tweet that because of us and bringing Vern on, that you feel as if you've gotten to know him, and that was nice. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Just one, you thought, Wes? They either ignore it or take shots. That's what they do.
Yeah, there was another angle of it though from behind Vern that somebody released last night, where you see the handshake and you see them talking to one another. Yes. Yeah, with that camera angle, that was funny. He was just watching on his own.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us on this Monday morning. Hey, today's tax day. Yo, money, you gotta, get the whole stamp on the envelope. Post office, mail, or electronically. Gotta get it in by 11:59 p.m.
You press send.
You can do it that way. You can. But just it's got 11:59 p.m. That's all. Post office or electronically. That's if you owe money. If they owe you money, hell, they don't care if you wait to send in your paperwork. They're good. So I can't believe it. This is the first time in a long time we owed money, but we sent it in. We got it taken care of a couple of weeks ago. Done. It's very early for us. We're last minute.
My wife absolutely freaks out from February 1st until the taxes are done. It is the one thing that she is apparently paranoid of us being late, not getting something not happening. I mean, she is very worried about having the IRS on her tail, which I think is a smart way to act.
Right.
But it is a cause of great distress for her. It's constant. Have you called the accountant? Do we have her taxes back yet? No, I gave her all this stuff. She's going to send me an email with some questions, and then I'm going to send one back, and we're going to call it a day. That's how this goes.
I know. I'm with you. My wife is exactly the same as your wife. And I will say we've had trouble like getting our W-2s and 1099s sent to us. It was strange this year. I had to call up 2 employers and go, yeah, I need the tax stuff. So it was weird, but got it done, and hope that I hope everybody got a couple shekels back. That you could have, as Trent likes to say, okay, that you have a little money left aside that you could sprinkle it around. Hope you all got a little that you can sprinkle.
Speaking of which, that account took a beating.
Well, we didn't bet Scheffler, did we?
No.
Well, didn't you bet guys to finish in like the top 6?
Top 5.
Okay. Well, there was did some of our guys finish T6?
Believe so.
Golly. You know what we needed? We needed Morikawa not to make that bogey putt. If he misses it, then our guys who finished T6 would have finished T5.
There was one. We needed a little bit better play out of Schauffele yesterday. Just a little bit.
Yeah,
he had a nice tournament. Your guy was our only shot really at a top 5, David. Other than that, we did not do well.
I was disappointed in him that he didn't have one, really good round. A Sunday 68 even, just to, get getting the money, so to speak. But hey, no, seriously, how do you take Tiger? Like, there are some that are like, listen, he made it all 4 rounds. It's the healthiest he's finished a major since the car accident. Let's just, first things first. He got through it. He appears about as healthy as he's going to be. And I'm like, listen, if he's doing 60th at the Masters, he's done. If you think there are you think Pinehurst and the U.S. Open's a better course for him?
No, I think there's when do they play St. Andrews again? What's the flattest British Open course that he's and I'm being 100%
next year.
Serious, David.
I think they
that's
do.
The only place that he's got a legitimate shot is somewhere that's flat. And I don't think he has a shot anywhere. But if he were to have a shot, it's across the pond. We watch Watson do it late in life. There's something about the way that golf's played over there that I could see with his putting, with his short game, that there's a possibility that he might be able to contend at a British. I highly doubt it. I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, Norman was in the final group of the Open Championship at like 53 years of age. Watson, of course, at 59, took a 1-shot lead into the 72nd hole. So, Tiger's 48. Yeah, I guess. But he set the record for most consecutive cuts. Good for him. But he certainly does seem to run out of steam in these tournaments, that he gets worse as the tournaments go on. And physically, it's tough to think that he's going to be in better shape going forward, right? So, that's why
it's not going to get any better.
And I don't see how the back's going to be any better either, because it's fused. So,
right. But the back, I can see, just because I know so many people with bad backs, that for 4 days, maybe the back can come together. The problem is when you're trying to push off an ankle, I don't know how that fused ankle is ever going to give him the comfort he needs to be able to play 4 rounds of golf, David.
So, until proven otherwise, for me, Tiger is now a ceremonial golfer. If Tiger contends in a tournament again, I will be surprised.
I'd be stunned. I'd be absolutely stunned if that happens.
Now, he's still obviously very important because he's on the PGA Tour Policy Board. And the feeling amongst a lot of people right now is that it's Tiger and the PIF guy that are going to negotiate the future of golf. So, I mean, you could argue it's, he's as important now as he was 20 years ago. But I just had the feeling this weekend that, okay, he's now a ceremonial golfer. Now Jack was a ceremonial golfer in his mid-50s, and at 56 was in the final group on Saturday at the Open Championship at Royal Lytham, and then at 58 finished T6 at Augusta, in which he had real shots at it on the back nine on Sunday. I mean, real shots at it. Birdie putts all over the place. He couldn't get one to go at 58. So I understand he could still have a moment or two, but that didn't mean that even Jack in his mid to late 50s wasn't a ceremonial golfer. He's just so damn amazing. He contended in 2 majors in his mid and late 50s. Maybe we'll get a moment like that. Sam's in a PGA at 62. I mean, some guys are just built differently.
I was happy that he played on Sunday. I would have been a little ticked off if he'd have WD'd again, to be brutally honest. I know that he's in pain and I know that he hurts, but after you shoot the highest round you've ever shot in a major, to not play the next day, the look of that to me would have been bad.
Now, I will say, I think we got a little bit of it from the amateur that he played with yesterday, who was asked afterwards about, what did you and Tiger talk about, blah, and they had a 9-5 tee time. And I guess he asked Tiger, hey, when did, get up to start stretching and, to play today? And Tiger said 3:45. So, that's 6 hours before tee time. So going forward, keep that in mind. Don't know if Tiger added some extra time because he was, sore and what have you. But so Tiger needed 6 hours, Mark, before teeing up. Okay.
Thought it was tough for me to get out of bed in the morning. 6 hours just to prepare to play a round of golf. But like I said, I am happy that to see that he just played, because I thought he was going to pull out, and I thought that would have been a bad look.
Absolutely.
To set the record for making cuts and then not play on Sunday. It just would have, to me, it would have been a bad look. Maybe not to you, maybe not to others, but to me, it would have been a bad look.
Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is coming up next. We'll talk a little NBA next hour. The season came and went over the week. Smith viewed the play-in game, but the 5 is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few Joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look you're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have more years experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's coming from my end, but you want me to log back?
Yeah, try.
Like you're locked right now.
Yeah, so
Now
are you.
Yeah,
You've been locked for the last 7 minutes. Oh, that's better for now.
I don't know, Realtor Clark. I play fast. Yep, we're doing a draft night Twitch show. In fact, I might as well put that in my calendar. Oh, Kilos, we'll have more insight. The one thing we do, though, we do look forward better than how they cover the draft.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Keith Smith, who covers the NBA, will join us 1 hour from now. Exciting time of the year. Baseball season in full swing. Masters is just come and gone after the respective Final Fours. NBA regular season came to an end yesterday. Hockey's regular season comes to an end this week. Both playoffs are underway in earnest over the weekend coming up. So fun time of the year. Oh, yeah, and the draft. That NFL draft thing. It's 10 days away. Right now it's time for... Oh, I'm not here.
Oh, darn it.
Golly gee, Willikers.
Crap. I don't know. The starting five.
Yeah.
Here's story number one.
5 stories that you need to know.
Yeah. We get it.
Number 1, Scotty Scheffler wins his second Masters, the 4th youngest to win 2 green jackets. The other 3, you may have heard of them, Jack, Tiger, and Seve. Scheffler's 27. He shot a 4-under 68, which is the second best round on the course yesterday.
The
considering he had,
there it is.
You need to know.
Hold on a
The
second.
Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
All right, we already had number 1. I was going to keep hitting buttons till this damn thing worked.
Well, obviously. I'm just glad we actually got to the starting 5, during the starting 5. Anyway, Scheffler 11 under. He won by 4 over Ludwig Oberg. And then there was a 3-way tie 3 shots further. So there's only one golfer within 6 of Scheffler, which was remarkable because there was like a 4-way tie with 10 holes to play. Anyway, Morikawa, Fleetwood, Homa, they all finished tied for 3rd. And only 8 golfers under par. That's unusual. Tiger finished last. Shot 82.77 over the weekend. That's 60th. Koepka and Rahm, T45, plus 9. Tiger, by the way, plus 16 was his final score. Rory, all right, JT, and Joaquin Newman. Actually, Rory and Joaquin Newman, 4 over, T22. The best LIV finishers, Cam Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, T6 at 2 under. Mentioned the NBA regular season coming to an end yesterday. Everybody was in action. You had the East all playing games at 1 o'clock, and then you had all the teams in the Western Conference playing games at 3:30. And the games had a lot to do with seeding, and just everybody who had to win basically won. Miami wanted to move up from the 8th seed. They beat Toronto by 15. They finished with 46 wins on the season. Problem was Philadelphia won. So Miami remains the 8th seed. They'll go on the road to play the Sixers in the play-in on Wednesday. Philly beat Brooklyn 107-86. Sixers end the season with 8 straight wins and a healthy Joel Embiid. But Indiana beat Atlanta by 42. Atlanta was locked in as the 10 seed to play Chicago on the road in the 9-10 play-in on Tuesday. But the Pacers with the win finishes the 6 seed. And they'll get in the first round Milwaukee because Milwaukee lost in Orlando. No Giannis because of the calf injury. Magic won by 25. So Milwaukee falls to the 3 seed. The Magic are the 5 seed. They will play Cleveland with the Cavs having home court. Cleveland had a chance to be the 2. If they had won yesterday, they would have been the 3. But instead, they didn't play Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, and they lost at home to Charlotte, 120 to 110. So the Cavs are the 4 seed. With a win, they would have been the 3. If they had won and the Knicks had lost, they would have finished as the 2. And the Knicks damn near lost at home to Chicago. But they escaped in overtime, 120 to 119. As I mentioned earlier, the Bulls will host the Hawks in the elimination 9-10 game tomorrow in Chicago. The Knicks, meanwhile, finishes the 2 seed. That sounds good, right? Well, no, they're going to play the winner of the 7-8 game. So they're going to get the Sixers of the Heat. If they had lost, they would have been the 3 seed. They would have gotten the Pacers. Mark, would you rather be the 2 or the 3?
The 3. It's not close. Playing the hottest team in the league.
Out west, Dallas had clinched the 5 seed like before the weekend. They had nothing to play for, so they didn't play anybody. Meanwhile, they're playing OKC, who had everything to play for, and the Thunder won by 49. So OKC's the 1 seed out west. Mavs are the 5. Mavs are going to play the Clippers in the first round. That's a heck of a first-round series. So since OKC's the 1 seed, Minnesota with a win would have been the 2. And they lost at home to Phoenix. Phoenix had a lot to play for because they wanted to get out of the play-in. So they beat Minnesota 125-106. And when the Lakers beat the Pelicans 124-108, that moved Phoenix up to the 6 and dropped New Orleans down to the 7. So the Lakers are going to stay in New Orleans because they're playing the Pelicans in the 7-8 play-in game. And since Phoenix beat Minnesota, they dropped the T-Wolves down to the 3. And since they're the 6, guess who they play in the first round of the playoffs? Minnesota. Denver beat Memphis, so the Nuggets are the 2. So to review, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Cleveland, top 4 in the East. Orlando, Indiana, Philly, Miami, the next 4. Chicago, Atlanta, the 9-10. Out west, OKC, Denver, Minnesota, the Clippers, your top 4. Dallas, Phoenix, New Orleans, the Lakers, 5 through 8. Sacramento will host Golden State in the 9-10 elimination game. Both were winners yesterday. Hockey is down to teams have either 1 or 2 games left. That's it. Vegas, by the way, beat Colorado in overtime 4-3. They're a point behind the LA Kings for 3rd in the division. If they don't finish 3rd in the division, they'll be the 8th seed, and they'll play Dallas in the first round. Colorado, meanwhile, they're a point behind Winnipeg in the race for who finishes 2nd in the division and will have home ice when they host the other. Carolina's a point behind the Rangers, trying to win the division and the President's Trophy. They beat Chicago 4-2. Calgary over Arizona. It's official. The Coyotes are moving to Salt Lake City. Arizona has 1 home game left. I believe it's Wednesday. 1 home game left. And St. Louis over Seattle 4-1. Florida will be home for the playoffs. In all likelihood, they'll be the 2nd place team in the division, and they will host Toronto in the first round. There's still an outside chance if they win their finale and Boston loses out that the Panthers actually can win the division. Tampa Bay, the Lightning have 1 game left. They're locked in as the first wild card. They will play whoever wins the Boston-Florida division. So right now, the Lightning would play the Bruins. But there's a chance still the Lightning and Panthers could play each other in the first round. Got it? There'll be a quiz on the NBA and the NHL playoffs later on in the show. Baseball. So the Marlins had a 7-6 lead with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the top of the 9th inning. And then Marcell Ozuna hit a 3-run homer. 9-7 Atlanta over Miami. Marlins are 3-13. Ouch.
That stings.
Yeah. Tampa Bay beat Blake Snell, who came back to town with the Giants. And roughed them up good. Beat the Giants 9-4. Tampa Bay's 9-7 on the season. Cleveland with 3 in the 10th stunned the Yankees 8-7-10. Baltimore avoided the sweep, beat Milwaukee 6-4. Pittsburgh 9-2 over the Phillies. Andrew McCutchen with his 300th career home run. The Pirates are off to an 11-5 start. Mets retired Dwight Gooden's number 16, so it figures they'd get a good pitching performance, right? They beat the Royals 2-1. Boston 5-4 over the Angels. How about the Tigers with 4 in the 8th to beat the Twins 4-3? The White Sox are 2-13. Worst team in baseball. They lost at home to the Reds 11-4. Mark, our Reds are 9-6.
Off to a good start.
Yep. Toronto held Colorado to 2 hits. The Rockies are 4-12. Toronto won 5-0. Jose Altuve with 2 homers for the Astros. They beat Texas 8-5. 8,637 on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Oakland. A's with 6 runs in the 6th beat the Nats 7-6. And Michael Busch is now homered in 4 straight games for the Cubs. They beat the Mariners 3-2. Arizona shut out St. Louis 5-0. Padres double up the Dodgers 6-3. WNBA draft is tonight. Indiana Fever with the first pick. It's going to shock everyone when they take Caitlin Clark. Speaking of which, did you see her on Saturday Night Live?
Believe it or not, David, I saw her live on Saturday Night Live.
Whoa. Apparently, by the way, I did not see Saturday Night Live this week. Ryan Gosling, the host, Caitlin Clark, a guest appearance. Apparently, this is one of the best Saturday Night Lives in 10 years, is what people were saying. That the writing was excellent. Gosling is all in. He got big-time actors to make cameos, including Emily Blunt. You know,
Emily Blunt was in the open, and I watched until the weekend update because I wanted to see if they were going to do any OJ jokes, to be brutally honest. I'm like, how are they going to handle this? And the Caitlin, it was okay. It used to be funny when they would get someone to laugh. When the skit was so good that they were laughing. They were all laughing. They couldn't keep a straight face during the first 5 or 6 skits. So is it great writing or bad acting? Which one is it?
Did you see the Beavis and Butthead skit?
I saw the whole thing. I didn't think it was that funny.
Beavis and Butthead skit funny?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Mark Pope introduced as head coach at Kentucky on a Sunday afternoon. They held their press conference at Rupp Arena. They sold it out. 21,000 and change for a presser. Did you see how he came in?
Oh, yeah.
So when Mark Pope, who was the starting center on the 96 Kentucky team, okay, he wasn't one of their best players, but he was their biggest guy. So Pope, when they won the title in 96, the day after winning the title, they drove the bus into Rupp Arena, and the team came off the bus, and they had the celebration inside Rupp Arena. So Pope got as many guys as he could on the 96 team, his teammates, to come to town. They rode the bus into Rupp. He walked off the bus holding the championship trophy, recreating 28 years ago. That's kind of cool. He got a 5-year deal, $5.5 million per. Chase Elliott broke a 42-race winless streak. He won at Texas Motor Speedway. Ross Chastain was second, and then he got wrecked in overtime and finished 32nd. Denver won the college hockey natty, Mark. They gave up 1 goal in 2 games over the weekend. They beat BU and BC 2-1 and 2-0. Their 10th national title. Women's World Hockey Championships, Canada in overtime over USA 6-5. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Apparently second place was not the place to be at Texas Motor Speedway. 4 guys who were in second place yesterday got wrecked.
Yeah, I didn't watch the race, but I read that, and Ross was a victim of that as well on the restart where he got spun out.
Yep. So he's still winless. Daytona 500, Texas, he was right there both times. Still looking for that first win, which clinches your spot in the playoff.
Seems like it's the only way to get in anymore.
Well, pretty
Damn
much.
near.
I mean, last year, they have like 14 or 15 winners and only 16 playoff spots.
And the year before was similar. So it's the last couple of years, it's been win or else in NASCAR.
So there you have it. Keith Smith in 45 minutes. We'll talk a little association, see whether or not he can pass the quiz as to who did what yesterday and who's now playing whom. So it's complicated. Never mind if we get into the NHL situation. I mean, what in the East, what do we have? 4 teams separated by a point for a playoff spot? I mean, it's nuts. And by nuts, we mean awesome.
Process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the
and master cut and we try is that you talk and what to
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Why you was a customer for 15 years? Affordability. Didn't I say was a customer for 15 years? Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and 24-hour warranty. Call us today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or at mollymade.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymade.com/FTMYERS.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think the Lightning match up better with the Bruins, but
And Evie, the fact that you think Charlie, how old's Charlie Woods? 15?
I think so.
So he's 8 years minimum from 7 years minimum from being able to get on tour. That's if he's good enough. No. I don't think there's a chance of Tiger hanging on to play a tour event with Charlie.
Yeah, he's 15.
He's not good enough as an amateur to qualify unless Tiger puts him in his tournament as a sponsor's exemption.
I could see one of those. Here's the other thing. Tiger, I mean, physically, you know, how many events is he going to play besides the majors? I mean, you're right, Mark. It might have to be his tournament in California where Tiger puts his kid in.
Yeah. All right, I'm flipping us back here.
I mean, Tiger got a sponsor's exemption to the LA Open at 15. But then again, he had already won 4 junior amateurs or 3 junior amateurs. The only reason I say Bruins RCB is that the Panthers, I think, are more physical. I think the Panthers are deeper, I'll be honest. I think the Bruins and Rangers have both overachieved.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Look at that. It only took an hour, and now we have commercials and the Sounders all firing at the same time. You can see why this show's syndicated, can't you? Soon to be expanding to 2 new cities. As soon as the equipment arrives. Man, doesn't that sum up Miller and Moulton? We have people that actually want us. They each need one piece of equipment. We can't get the equipment to them. I mean, Postal Service, UPS, Amazon, you would think it wouldn't be that hard.
Well, David, I think, the other side of it too is that, and I've solicited advertisers on the show before. I mean, there's never a better time because the person who's in charge doesn't bother to invoice anybody who advertises. So I don't know if anybody's ever paid. I really don't.
No, that's true. In fact, here's the deal. Advertise on Miller and Moulton and you won't get billed for it.
There you go. 21,000's a text line. I've got a whole afternoon to come see you today.
We're not joking.
No.
No. I mean, there you go. Miller and Moulton expanding pending 2 packages arriving in the mail. And advertise now on Miller and Moulton, and we won't bill you. You think we're kidding? We're not. Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. No Trent. I think I think once Tiger shot 82 on Saturday, he got all sad.
There's such a difference. We've had 2 young men work with us here in this act. And both have done a nice job. Felipe was great. But Felipe had a confidence about him and the ability to ask for time off in only ways, to me, people of his age can do. He never felt that work was that important. Kind of like Scotty Scheffler doesn't feel that golf's the most important thing in his life.
No,
it's now 4th.
Yeah, the
With
Masters.
the birth of the child, he said golf is ranked about 4th on his priority list.
Right. The Masters really got in the way this week for Scotty Scheffler. If you listened to him closely yesterday, it was a pretty big inconvenience. But,
And that's how this job was for Felipe. It was kind of an inconvenience. He liked being on the air. He liked hanging out with us, but he really didn't like getting up at all.
No.
And Trent yesterday had the difference between the two of them is amazing. The two of them are friendly. They get along.
I know.
You know, I think the world of Felipe. I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying something disparaging, that I wouldn't say if Felipe was right here. And I don't think I think he'd agree with me on that analysis. But Trent yesterday had flight problems.
Uh-huh.
And he called me.
Oh.
And when I saw the phone ring, I knew exactly what was going on. I'm like, I got to run the board again tomorrow. Trent's not going to make it back.
He ain't called to say, hey, buddy, how's your weekend going?
Exactly. And it was during the second call in which he said, do I need to call David? No, we're good. I'll handle that, because there was a nervousness he felt so horribly about about things that were completely outside of his control.
I'm surprised you didn't say, call David. I haven't called David since 2019. You call David, he'll think you're quitting. My goodness. Besides, what's he going to do about it?
So Trent will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, so we think. Who knows? These lines of storms and flights and delayed, but plus he doesn't have a direct flight. And once that's the case, anything can happen.
But I do find it amazing, David, that Trent's had 2 little bits of business to do since he's joined us. The one went swimmingly, this one did not. You fly every week.
Twice.
And by and large, have had very little complications with your flights.
Yep.
And this kid can't even get back and forth from Grand Rapids, Michigan over a week.
No, he can't. No, on a Sunday. So Trent, he'll be back tomorrow or else. Okay. We told him, we're like, yeah, no, travel stuff happens. You'll be there Tuesday or you don't bother coming back. That's all. No, it's fine. Just it's 5:30 a.m. Tuesday, or else just stay in Michigan. That's all. No big deal. We'll pack your stuff up. It'll get to you about as conveniently as the part that we're sending to Huntsville and Jacksonville to get on those radio stations. Yeah, we'll send your stuff along with the parts. We'll see what gets where first. So,
don't you kind of want, just to switch gears to the NBA here quickly, and I know not everybody loves the NBA, but the play-in game between Miami and Philadelphia, I'm rooting for Philadelphia, because don't you just want Miami to get the Celtics in round 1?
And Philly to get the Knicks? I mean, if you're the NBA, that's what you're rooting for. I mean, you can't go wrong either way. Knicks and the Heat have so much history. If the Heat win, all right, then they're the 7. They get the Knicks, and then most likely Philly will beat the winner of Chicago, Atlanta. You get Philly, Boston. I mean, they just played last year in the second round. Went 7. The loser fired their coach. Traded away their second best player. So, but I'm with you, Mark. I mean, if I have to draw it up, because we've said it all along, the one team that we think is Boston's kryptonite in the East is Miami, for whatever reason. And I don't know how many good games Jimmy Butler's got in him this spring. I really don't.
No, but he might have 2 or 3 in a series against Boston, and wouldn't that be interesting if he did?
And wouldn't it be interesting if Miami just split in Boston? Just went up there and got a split and came home.
And for that matter, got another one in Miami, because I could see Miami winning games, 97-95 and losing 111-84.
So, and for that matter, so you got Philly, Miami in a play-in. You've got Zion and LeBron in a play-in out west. and a chance for an elimination game if Zion and the Pelicans win of having LeBron against Steph. Loser goes home for the second time in 3 years, by the way, because they played in a 9-10 game. What was it, 3 years ago? Here's the deal, and I'm not kidding. There's a lot of people that believe the Lakers can beat anybody out west as long as they're not named Denver. And if you're the Lakers, you win the 7-8 game, you're getting Denver. You're getting the one team that has been proven. They own you, man. They own you. Swept you in the conference finals. I think they won every regular season game this year. I mean, you got nothing for them. But you can't mess around, can you? I mean, in the NBA, Mark, let's face it, they throw games all the time in the NBA. They do. But in the regular season, they decide who's going to play who, when, okay? And they're not announcing they're throwing the game, but they set rosters in which, they do it based on matchups. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe, like, the last team Oklahoma City wants to see in the first round is the Lakers. Congratulations, you're the 1 seed. You get LeBron and Anthony Davis. That ain't a good draw. And you have no playoff experience. And no one, and this is not an opinion, this is a fact, no one gets more calls than the Lakers. No one draws more fouls. No one shoots more free throws. Now, part of it's their style of play, and part of it is reputation. I mean, to me, Oklahoma City this year could be a lot like Cleveland last year. Cleveland was really good and really young. And the Knicks showed up and said, yeah, you guys don't know anything about playoff basketball, do you?
Not a damn thing.
Yeah, pay attention over the next week. We'll teach you. And then the Heat did to the Knicks a week later. They said, oh, you guys think you know about playoff basketball. Pay attention. We'll show you what playoff basketball is really all about.
But who in the West has anything for Denver? Who do you think has the most for Denver?
Well, once again, if styles make a fight, a lot of people think the winner of the Clippers-Mavs series has got something for Denver, just in terms of styles making a fight. The funny thing is, who matches up pretty well with Denver? Minnesota. And if both get out of the first round, they'd play each other in a 2-3 matchup.
It's why we talked about last week how important it was for the T-Wolves to get home court over Denver, which they ended up not getting. Because in that series, that could be the difference.
And instead, Karl Anthony Towns is going to try to come back first round of the playoffs, hasn't played in 6 weeks. That's not ideal. Can he get up to speed and contribute to them winning? Phoenix, a perimeter team. Minnesota, a big team. That's a great styles make a fight. I mean, listen, the NBA regular season was lousy because so many teams mailed in so many games, quite frankly. I mean, it's the total opposite of the hockey regular season. Hardly anybody mails it in the NHL. Some teams just suck, but they play hard. Like even the Blackhawks, are they the worst team in the league? They had a third period lead on Carolina last night. Carolina's one of the 5 best teams in the league. Chicago hasn't had anything to play for since November.
We've watched Montreal do it to Philadelphia as they were down the stretch. We've watched every team in the league. Arizona's had a win or two down the stretch. Yes, David.
So this whole styles make a fight thing, in hockey, it's the first round, it's goaltending. But man, I will say the NBA playoffs, fascinating. Like if you're Orlando in the playoffs, of all the teams that you could pick, you probably would have wanted Indiana, but getting Cleveland's not bad. They're young, and they've had a bunch of injuries, and they haven't proven anything. I mean, Cleveland's only a year ahead of you. Orlando could beat Cleveland. I mean, they ain't going anywhere after that, but they could beat Cleveland. I don't think they will, but they could. We have no idea what we're getting from Milwaukee. We don't know if Giannis is going to play. We don't know if that team's even playing for Doc Rivers or not.
Losing record with Doc. I look at. I want them out in the first round. You go get your coach fired that was handpicked. They're winning, but that wasn't good enough. And you go bring in Doc because you think that's the right answer. They've had a losing record since. I would love to see this team bounced in the first round of the playoffs. They deserve it, believe it or not, David, to me.
And I mean, we can get a first round in the East of the Knicks and the Sixers and the Celtics and the Heat. Whew. Sign me up. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, RCB, I'll say this. First off, it's pretty hard to put LeBron on his ass. He's 6'9", 260. I mean, and then if you are putting him on his ass, it's because he's off the ground, and then that's a dirty play. And in today's NBA, you could get suspended pretty easily. So that's another reason why they don't foul like they used to. No, Feeney, listen, I think you're going to see a lot of guys get hurt in the playoffs because they're not used to playing every game and they're not used to playing this hard. And I'm not just saying this because they're my team, but I give a lot of credit to the Knicks and the Bulls yesterday. Bulls had nothing to play for. Nothing. Their starters all played 40 minutes plus, trying to hurt the Knicks seeding. And the Knicks knew early on that they were going to be no worse than the 3 seed, and they could have pulled their guys, and they didn't. I will say, you want to see something funny? Take a look at the Thibodeau presser when the reporter asked him about that scenario. Hey, third quarter when the Magic were taking it to Milwaukee, you could have, and he looks at the reporter like he's got 3 heads. I was waiting for a Herm Edwards to come out. Well, Realtor Clark. Here's and something that I believe actually though. Those guys love playing in New York. They got a lot of buddies. Billy Donovan's from New York. They ain't going to lay down there. They may lay down against Brooklyn, but they ain't going to lay down against the Knicks. Poll question. You want to do it about Scheffler and the Scotty Scheffler going forward? Do you want to do it about NBA playoffs about to begin? Your level of interest in the NBA playoffs?
Oh gosh, that could be fun. It'll get crushed.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I know.
Strong. Not interested. Or don't care.
Watch all of it. Watch some of it. Wait till the finals. Won't watch any.
There you go.
All right, I'm flipping back.
By the way, you know who looked good over the weekend, even though his pitching line didn't show it? Chris Sale looked good Saturday. His defense behind him and the home plate umpire cost him, but he threw 7 innings. He looked good. If that guy can stay healthy, he's barking at people again. He's Chris Sale again. It was good to see. Paula, it would be fitting because this is apparently the worst draft in 20 years.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Keith Smith to talk the association coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Poll question deals with the association. NBA playoffs get underway technically tomorrow with the play-in. But worst case scenario, they get underway Saturday, just like the Stanley Cup playoffs will get underway on Saturday. Big weekend. So how much of the NBA playoffs you going to watch? We give you 4 choices. Mark came up with the choices.
All of it, some of it, just the finals, or none of it?
And I voted all of it.
You're in, aren't you?
I am. I love the play-in concept. I love games with consequences. And Philly, Miami? How much of a difference do you think it is to face New York or to face Boston?
It's monumental. It's a first exit or an opportunity to advance in the playoffs. I mean, even for Philadelphia, they will not be a favorite against Boston, as well as they are playing. Boston won the East by what, like 15 games or whatever the hell it was? I mean,
right. Yeah.
This has been a foregone conclusion for a month.
In fact, who clinched first? Scheffler, the Masters, or the Celtics, the East?
Oh, it was the Celtics.
Okay. I mean, Scheffler had that thing clinched with 7 holes to go. And once his tee shot on 12 landed on the green, that tournament was over.
What happened first? The Celtics clinched the East, or the Marlins were mathematically eliminated from the postseason?
that unfortunately, Marlins fans, that funny. We know funny, def funny. So,
Damn.
yeah. Boy, that escalated quickly, as they say. They're 3-13. So how much of the NBA playoffs are you going to watch? All of it, some of it, just the finals, none of it. There you go. So I voted all of it.
I'll watch some of it because I will not be watching the West. It's just simply too late. You can go through insomnia and try to work your nap schedule in. If I'm staying up late over the course of the next month, it's going to be for hockey overtime.
Well, see, that's the difference between us is that, you're still playing golf. So you strategically don't watch the West Coast stuff because after the show, you have to play golf 2-3 times a week. I don't play golf anymore, so I nap. That's my golf. What's your hobby? Tuesdays and Thursdays, I nap. So, yes, I will be watching out West. Never mind the fact that the hockey playoffs start Saturday. So, 2 months, no sleep at all for 2 months. Nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. And this just in. When it goes to overtime, yes, I watch to the end. The end.
Yeah, Miller and Moulton have a long established rule about playoff overtime. You either go to bed when regulation's over,
right,
or you make the commitment.
Exactly. So you have 12 minutes to make the decision. And you can make it late. You can, when they go to overtime, I'm staying. And then over the next 6, 8, 10 minutes, you're like, I don't know, I'm tired. Okay. But once they come out and they're about ready to drop the puck for overtime, if that TV's still on, then you're up. And I will say the two of us have texted one another, like they play a whole first overtime. They get to intermission and we'll text one another. You still watching? Yep.
Yeah, Miller and Moulton do not have late night texting rules when it comes to NHL playoff hockey.
No.
Because you're hoping the other answers. Because you might need that text back and forth to keep you through the intermission between overtimes 1 and 2. Because trust me, it's hard sometimes.
It is. There is no doubt about it. But, we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. And Paula, who goes by Detroit Paula on X, is in our Twitch chat room. All right. She said something very nice to us yesterday, Mark, on X, in which she said, because of the two of you, and having Vern on, especially recently, I feel as if I have gotten to know him. And so it made his goodbye a little more poignant and a little more special. And so, that, I don't know about you, Mark, but once the whole, once Morikawa made his 2 doubles on 9 and 11, Oberg put it in the water on 11, Homa makes double on 12. Once Scheffler put it on the green on 12, I watched for the next hour just to see them go through 16.
You and I both had to shush the household because Mom was over for dinner. Mom likes the Masters, so I wasn't worried about her affecting my watchability of the tournament because she's usually in. But my wife and mother started cackling, as I like to say. It's the official bird of Florida. The cackling snowbird, even though they're full-time residents. And the cackle was starting, and I turned around and said, all right, guys, can we keep this to a dull roar for the next 15, 20 minutes, or you guys can go back outside? But Vern's been doing this for 40 years. I'm going to watch him sign off on 16. Is that okay? I can hear you two kibitz all day long after that.
So I was impressed. Vern is emotional. And Vern has been emotional in the past, like when he signed off doing college football. He kept it together, but there were times during commercials where he was struggling during that final broadcast. All right. I was impressed knowing how emotional Vern is, that Vern kept it together the way he did yesterday. Because I don't know if people remember a year ago when Nick Faldo signed off doing golf for CBS. Faldo was a blubbering fool for a half an hour. I'm not kidding. He just openly was weeping on the air. I mean, it got to the point where it was like, okay, Nick, just enough. Go somewhere else. Anyway, so Vern kept it together. That's what I was worried about. I wanted him to be Vern to the end, if you know what I mean. because I know him. I was a little more. I was personally invested. I'm like, okay, go. You got to go out as Vern. And he did.
And he got a little emotional, like when they let him kind of send it to break there, and there was a little bit of silence, but all in all, he kept it together. 40 years at Augusta, and we were able to see that great handshake, which I saw live because I was watching Tiger when he came through 16, and Tiger went over and gave his goodbye to Vern.
I will say, if we had had this Tiger from a human standpoint when he was conquering the world 20 years ago, I mean, because he has evolved here. He's much more human now than he was when he was just an arrogant, seeking missile machine. I mean, now he's human. Last 15 years. A couple car accidents, a divorce, health issues, I mean, he's had more surgeries than Vern. There's a 35-year age difference.
And he's had all of them seemingly in the last few years.
Right. So, but I was glad it ended well. And I was glad it ended with Vern in the tower on 16. So that was cool. And he spent the whole day out there. If you saw, he pulled up a chair next to the tree and watched the morning guys come through. And then he just went up into the tower and spent the day. And it's not easy for him to get into the tower at this age. And so.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do they get him in the tower?
Well, there's two towers. There's a low tower and a high tower. He went in the low one. So it wasn't necessarily the perch that he had for most of his run, but they got him in the low one. So that was cool. And yeah, by the way, who do you give 16 to going forward?
Look, I will say, if I were to be critical of the coverage at all, it seems that they just gave every hole to Nance.
Well, they don't have anybody at 15 anymore. So Nance does 15. And they don't have anybody on 13 anymore. So they gave Nance 13.
Law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I must say, cranking the air down 2 degrees, which freezes you over on that side, makes it almost tolerable on this side.
Okay.
Immelman sucks, DC. And I didn't think he was bad yesterday.
And they think he's great, for the record. Feeney, and we did an interview with Vern years ago in which we talked about this. I don't think there is a broadcaster. I mean, Joe Buck's close. If you think about all the stuff that Joe has broadcast. But, I mean, for all the stuff that Nance has done, we remember so many more of Vern's moments. I mean, you know, Leitner hitting the shot, the kick six, Jack and Tiger at the Masters. I mean, we're talking about moments in which people go, oh, yeah, I remember where I was. And Vern got all of them. You know, he even had the moment on the radio, Jackie Smith dropping the tying touchdown in the Super Bowl for the Cowboys. I know I've told this before. My second week with the SEC on CBS, we got caught in a huge thunderstorm in Arkansas on a Friday night. And it was me, and it was Vern, and it was Tracy Wolfson, and it was Craig, the executive producer. Craig produced the Duke Kentucky game that Vern broadcast. We couldn't go anywhere for 2 hours. And Eli Gold and Kenny Stabler came over and sat down at our table. You imagine being a fly on the wall sitting at that table for 2 hours. We couldn't leave the restaurant. It was hail. You could not go outside. I've been with the crew. This is my second game. We haven't even played it yet. That was a hell of a dinner.
I bet.
Of which I contributed nothing.
That was your smartest move ever.
I asked like 2 questions off of stuff that they were talking about. You got Keith?
Oh, Schneik.
Schneik? Is that like half a shank? Tough to play through the Schneiks.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Twenty-two minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton on this Monday after the Masters. Also, a Monday after the NBA regular season has come to an end. Speaking of the NBA, playoffs get underway with the play-ins tomorrow. Playoffs in full on Saturday. So what's your level of interest in the NBA playoffs? We give you 4 degrees from all of it to not interested and a couple of choices in between. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X, and vote accordingly. We have somebody who's invested in all of it. Of course, he's paid to do so. He's Keith Smith. He covers the association for Spot Rack, and he's part of YouTube's NBA Front Office show. Check it out. It's very good. Follow Keith on X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I was invested in all of it long before I was paid to do so. I don't know if those were training years or what, but yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for it all to get ramped up in the next couple days.
Well, should the Knicks have tanked the second half against the Bulls? I mean, seemingly, half the league tanked yesterday, but, honestly, Keith, some fascinating matchups here. The Lakers own New Orleans, but if they beat New Orleans again, they get Denver. They can't do anything with Denver. We could go through a series of matchups here that are still fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've seen the play-in tournament do here is obviously it's helped that the flag lottery odds. We don't have teams tanking the way they used to, where it was game one all the way in the middle of October. This team's going to be terrible and not try. Now what we've seen happen with these teams is with the play-in tournament, the teams at the top, when you get into the last couple of days, they can't pull what I call seeding shenanigans, where it is trying to manufacture a matchup because you don't know who you're going to have. And then we had some of the top seeds, especially in the West, up for grabs, so the teams couldn't really angle things there. So yeah, that made for a real fun, last few days of the season, and it makes for interesting playoff matchups as well.
Seeding shenanigans. I'm just going to say that one time and not try to do it 10 times quickly because I could lose my job trying to pull that off. All right. Phoenix gets to the 6. How big is that from a bad standpoint, from Minnesota's standpoint?
Yeah, huge. The thing with the Suns is all year long we kept kind of saying, are they gonna figure this out? Are they gonna get all the guys healthy? What's it gonna look like? And then we went to, man, this team has this killer closing schedule. Like they're gonna struggle to get out of the play-in tournament. And now all of a sudden they go 7-3 over their last 10. 2 of those games they beat Minnesota. Yesterday they beat Minnesota very easily, very handily, and that is the worst matchup for the Wolves because they have nowhere to put Karl Anthony Towns. There's not a player to hide on in that Phoenix starting group. There's not a player who is, all right, well, they're kind of sort of big. Minnesota likes to push everybody to shoot mid-rangers. Well, that's where the Suns live. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, even Bradley Beal, they love those mid-range pull-up jump shots and those things. So it's just a really, really bad matchup. That's going to be something where Chris Finch and staff this week are going to have to get in the lab and figure out how do we want to defend this Phoenix team, because everything points to Phoenix is going to get what they want offensively, and it's going to be really hard for us.
Does Philadelphia have the best shot at the Celtics in the East? I mean, they haven't lost since Embiid came back. They've won 8 in a row, even though he didn't play all those games. Ironically, if they beat Miami, they'll play the Knicks and not the Celtics. I mean, Keith, I don't know when Embiid's going to get hurt again. And there's a part of me that thinks Philly's best shot at Boston might be next week, not a month from now.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. One of the things that with this whole play-in tournament, too, is now these teams come back and you go to the play-in tournament and the top seeds are going to sit for a week. And the Celtics main guys are going to have sat for a week and a half and not played a real game. So that becomes a whole rest versus rust discussion and how does that work better. But what's going to be interesting with Philly is you hit the nail on the head. If Joel Embiid is healthy, they're a danger to anybody. They can beat any team. The problem is he didn't look very good Friday. He tweaked his knee. They sat him out yesterday in a game that they had to win to even try to get out of the play-in tournament. They ended up winning it. But the challenge for them is you kind of feel like you're walking a tightrope with this guy, where If everything goes good, all right, we can really push and challenge teams. But if there's struggles here with getting them on the court, we're going to have problems even getting through the first round and maybe even through the play-in tournament.
Should Philadelphia take care of Miami, and this goes according to Hoyle, Miami has been Boston's kryptonite. Do they have one more in them against the Celtics, or is this just too much to ask of a Heat team if they play Boston?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I think the universe is setting us up for Celtics Heat again, because it's just that's what the universe is going to deliver. But what I think is really interesting in this spot is I don't feel like this is the same Heat team that we've seen in years past. Like everything just seems a little harder for them. It seems like they've got some struggles as far as how they can score points and all that stuff. That said, they come out and they're playing well. We're in a tight game in game one in the fourth quarter. Everybody in Boston collectively is going to be like, here we go again. It's this is just how this is going to be. Panic level is going to be off the charts. So Miami knows what they need to do against Boston. The other part of it is this is a very different Celtics team from years past. They now have really ways they can attack with Kristaps Porzingis that they didn't have before. Drew Holiday has been a wonderful fit, and their depth is playing much better than it has in years past as well. So you feel like that's a kind of a rebalancer almost the other way, where it is, all right, even if we get there, we feel like we can do things differently than we have in the past.
Is Oklahoma City paper mache as a one? I mean, these guys haven't even played a playoff game. What, they in the 2020, the last time they played a playoff game? I don't know if any of these guys actually played in one. I mean, I know they're the one seed, but they could get the Lakers or the Warriors, for goodness sake, in the first round. I mean, are the Thunder being set up for an early dismissal?
They might be, but they're also really good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is 100% an MVP candidate. I don't think he'll win, but he deserves to be mentioned. And then you get into their next group of guys. Chet Holmgren is good. Josh Giddey has played well. They've got pretty good depth, even if they're still trying to sort through. And I don't know that Mark Daignault knows, all right, these are my 8 guys I'm going to battle with on every night when it really matters. But he'll figure that out. But they're tough. They defend. They really move the ball. They do a good job of varying their attack between shooting and getting downhill. So that's a really good Oklahoma City team. And I think it's probably a year away from being a true contender for them. But they're going to be solid. I don't know that they're going to be out. But I'm with you. I think a lot of people are going to look at those matchups and talk themselves into the veteran seed, even the veteran team, even though they're coming in as the much lower seed.
Is Giannis's injury taking a little of the, not pressure off, but maybe alleviating the pressure from Doc? Because to me, if they lose in the first round or even in the second round, this is a horribly disappointing season from where they were when Doc came on board. He has a losing record with the team, and now the Giannis injury to me can deflect some of that, or will it?
I think it will. He's going to push it that way and try to push that's what happened here, and that's why they fell short if they do fall short in the early round here. But I think the challenge for the Bucks is, I think the bigger story is they're not going to want to fire Doc and then be paying 4 coaches at once, because they're still paying Mike Budenholzer, they're still paying Adrian Griffin. I don't think they're going to want to play Doc Rivers as well.
Well, let's face it, in the NBA, what ends up happening is that Giannis and Lillard start requesting trades. That's the other thing to watch for if this doesn't go well for the Bucks. All right, is Orlando, and ironically they're playing Cleveland, is Orlando last year's Cleveland? Good young team on the come. They have no idea what they're getting in for, though, in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to that. Teams rarely win their first time through a playoff run. They usually, when they get there the first time as a group, especially if it's a team driven by young players, they don't know what it's like to play the same team 4 to 7 times in a 2-week period, and how different that is, how the physicality picks up, how every possession is that much more important. Orlando defends, so they're going to give themselves a chance. Excuse me, but I think their problem is going to be, can they find enough offense to compete? And I think the Cavs are a good matchup for them because the Cavs aren't an overwhelming offensive team by any means. But I think Cleveland now, they're going to draw on, we've been here before, we know what it takes now. And I do think they'll bounce the Magic, but a great step forward season for Orlando for sure.
Obviously, Boston's a big favorite in the East. Maybe Philadelphia with Embiid can do something there. But in the West, how many teams can win the Western Conference?
I still take Denver over the field in the West. I think the Nuggets are, even though they fell to the 2 seed, I'm not all that worried about it for them. They're still going to be home. They're still the champs. They still know what it takes. But if you told me Dallas made a run out of their series, or if the Clippers had a healthy Kawhi Leonard, that they made a run, I could see that. I think Phoenix is set up now to go on a little bit of a run out of their seed. Their biggest challenge is going to be if they can upset Minnesota, can they get through Denver in the second round? But they've been a tough matchup for the Nuggets at times this year. So I still think it's Denver, but there's a handful of other teams that I feel, all right, if we're sitting there in June and they're in the West Finals or pushing to make the NBA Finals, I wouldn't be totally surprised.
Yeah, Keith, I think you hit on it. The winner of that Mavs-Clippers series could be the team that goes on the run to the Western Finals and maybe even beyond. Keith, safe travels. Thanks so much for your time and your insight. Hopefully we can check in later on in the playoffs.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Keith Smith, Spot Rack, okay, analytics, Spot Rack, SPOTRAC. Check it out. Very interesting. If you're into the association, you probably already know about it. And the NBA front office show on YouTube, which is very good. And he's a part of it. Keith Smith NBA is how you follow him on X.
So he's pretty much got a Boston-Denver final.
Yeah, it sounds like he does. With maybe the Mavs-Clippers winner spoiling things out west, but doesn't have a lot of confidence anybody's going to spoil things in the East. So, hey, listen, ABC would take that. They'll take the Celtics in the final.
Absolutely.
They'd have no problem with that.
And that works out really well no matter who's on the other side.
Right. I mean, just they'd want LeBron and the Lakers to make a run, or Steph and the Warriors to give them a month of games. And they would like the Knicks to win 2 series and lose to Boston in the conference finals if they could draw it up. If you're into choreographing things.
Our poll question is about the NBA playoffs. How much of the NBA playoffs will you watch? All of it, some of it, just the finals, or none of it? And right now, all of it and none of it are battling for first place.
Yeah!
The diehard NBA guy against the anti-NBA guy.
I like it. Like it. Texas death match in the old days. Steel cage. Nobody. All right. You got to climb out the top in order to win this sucker. Nobody's walking through a door. Yeah. All right.
So there's a little association talk for you. We'll do it once in a while during the postseason.
Right. Don't worry, hockey fan. Later on in the week. Oh, it's coming. Don't you kid yourself.
What are they waiting so long to start the playoffs for? I mean, this season should have been over like the NBA. It should have been over on the weekend. We don't need these games this week. Let's move this sucker along for crying out loud.
I agree. I don't know why they're not done. It's same number of games and their season starts sooner. So why is it finishing later? And the playoffs are starting the same day though. I mean, there are going to be some teams that are playing Wednesday, playoffs start Saturday. And this weekend, everybody will play a game 1 in both the NBA and the NHL.
Do you want to play in the NHL?
No. But you know what's going to happen? Apparently, the NHL, Bettman may not do it, and we can get into this on the other side. There's serious talk the NHL is going to go to 36 teams.
I'm aware of that.
And once that happens, is 16 playoff teams going to be enough, or are they going to have to do some kind of play-in to get to 16?
There's more revenue in a play-in.
and that's a league that draws the least amount of revenue. So, ... Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Travel delays, Stratharian, he's fine.
Yeah, Trent just had some flight problems, Stratharian. No, I don't, Wes. David, do you think they'll ever put Romo on a hole to cover?
The Masters would never allow that. I think they're going to move Andrew Catalan over to 16. And what I'm wondering is, will they give Catalan 15 and 16? Because remember, Faraday used to do 15. But where was Frank Nobilo? Is he no longer part of their... Because Frank Nobilo used to be part of their...
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour for the 239 awaits an hour from now. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, NBA-centric today. Don't worry, hockey fans. We'll have an NHL poll question later on in the week, but the NBA playoffs get underway tomorrow with the play-ins because the regular season ended yesterday. Hockey still has 1 or 2 games left in their season, depending on which team you root for. So just take a deep breath. We're getting there. But we're asking your level of interest in the NBA playoffs, from I'm all in to... not interested at all.
In fact, we're going to ask the same exact question about the NHL playoffs.
Yep.
Same wording, same answers.
Yep.
And I'll be curious of which gets more votes, because we have a bigger hockey audience in some markets that we're in than NBA, and there's no arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But the NBA is a far more popular sport, and it's not close.
Mm-hmm. Right. So curious how many votes and also what the percentage is in terms of levels of interest. And both Florida teams are in the NBA playoffs and in the NHL playoffs. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
How about the Orlando Magic? Getting a series that they can win?
Yeah, they really can. Now, the NHL reseeds. NBA does not. So it's kind of like, the NBA is very much like the NCAA tournament. You get an upset, all of a sudden, your side opens up. Like last year when the Heat upset Milwaukee. 1 versus 8. Who'd the Heat play? They played the 5 seed, the Knicks, in the second round. Because, winner of 1-8 plays the winner of 4-5. In hockey, if that had happened, who would the Heat have played in the next round? They would have played the Celtics.
Which do you think there should be, by the way? Do you think they should reseed? I like them not reseeding. I like when there's an upset, but it's not the best way, obviously, to ensure that your title game gets the best teams in it.
Correct. And that's if I'm running a league, see, I want to give my regular season as much weight as possible. And also by reseeding, what do? You allow your better teams to face what? The weaker teams as many times as possible. So, in theory, then again, you could argue last year because the Heat are, the exception to the rule. And that's why, do you know what you're going to get from the Heat beginning Wednesday in Philadelphia?
Don't have a clue. I mean, really don't have a clue.
I mean, all of a sudden, if Jimmy Butler goes all Jimmy Butler, who can't they beat?
And who would be surprised if he did?
Right. Now, I think for the first time, Jimmy Butler's showing a little age. I think he's 34. He's got a bulky knee, and I think he showed both this year. But then again, it's the spring. I wish Trent was here because what is it? It's January, February, Izzo. Well, you could argue in the last 4 years, It's fall, winter, Butler. I mean, the last 4 seasons, they've gone to 3 conference finals, 2 NBA finals. I mean, Jimmy Butler's been amazing in 3 of the last 4 springs. Amazing. So, anyway, that's the NBA. One other NBA note, and this happens all over the place, usually in minor league promotions, but they're doing it now in the majors. So did you see the Clippers
game with Houston and the Clippers, right?
Yeah. And the Clippers had nothing to play for. Houston wanted to win to get to 500. They didn't want to finish with a losing record, but for the most part, they were playing because the schedule made them play. And so they got some big reserve player in for the Clippers. I don't even know his name. It's late in the game, and apparently, if in Houston, was it in Houston or LA? Thought it was in
LA.
Houston.
No, it was in LA because it was the opposing team, and Boban is the player, right? Whoever the hell that is. And that's
so anyway, if the opposing player misses both free throws, we get we get chicken, right? Free chicken. Right.
If the opposition misses 2 free throws in a row.
So he missed the first free throw. And the crowd starts.
Marjanovic. Hell of a name. We finally got the Boban Marjanovic. Okay, there you go.
Boban Marjanovic.
All right.
So Marjanovic, because the crowd starts getting fired up. They do this at Purdue also. When I was broadcasting the one college basketball game this year, every time a Jacksonville player missed the first free throw, all of a sudden the crowd gets very excited. I think it was a local place. You got a free sundae. I don't know if it was McDonald's or Dairy Queen or whatever, but you got a free sundae.
Ice cream?
I know.
Wow.
I know. So all of a sudden, Mackey Arena 14-678 is getting all fired up. Here they are winning by 35 points. We got a big free throw here, okay? This is a money shot, so to speak. So this Marjanovic guy, he realized what's going on. Crowd's going crazy. He kind of looks at him like, all right, I'll take care of you. I got you. And he clearly intentionally misses the free throw. I mean, it hits the side of the rim. He didn't try to make it. It was obvious.
No, he points to the crowd as he missed it.
Okay, kind of like, I got you. I took care of you. You make sure you speak well. Reminded me of that scene in Bull Durham when Costner tells the hitter what's coming because he's tired of Lelouch there shaking him off. And he says, and when you speak of me, speak well. And that's what I thought of. I thought Marjanovic was saying to the crowd, hey, who's your guy? Who took care of you? Anybody else here taking care of you? No. Boban took care of you. Just remember that.
He wasn't worried about what his personal props were on DraftKings. I can tell you that.
Exactly. Hey, speaking of which, it's an interesting idea. And I don't say that lightly because it's coming from, wait for it, the NCAA. I know what I just said, and I'm going to stand by it. In light of this issue with the Toronto Raptors player, in which it looks as if he was in on the fix in terms of some of his individual game prop bets, Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, wants no prop bets to be allowed on college games. He understands I can't do anything about UNLV plus 13.5. He gets that. But he wants no prop betting allowed on college players in college sports. I got to admit, if I was running the NCAA,
I think it's admirable, David. I do. I don't think it'll happen because I don't think Vegas really gives a damn what Baker thinks here.
I understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know. I don't know if this is something that Congress can actually pass. Not that they would, but I mean,
I don't think that they could. I really don't.
And let me ask you this. I mean, because I don't know how much of the gambling that's done. Because, like, I'm not a prop bet guy. I know a lot of people are. And you gamble. And we gamble as a show. We have a little account, and we throw 2-3 bets out there, every day. Just for the heck of it. All right? And we don't do many prop bets, do we?
No, we do none.
Okay. Now, Trent does prop bets.
Trent loves himself a prop bet.
Right.
Especially when he can get a boost.
Right. And then a little sprinkle.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't think an NBA, an NFL, an NHL, or a Major League Baseball commissioner would ever go as far as the head of the NCAA. But, I mean, what's the one thing that could take down your league, Mark?
Oh, thinking that the games are not on the up and up.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest fear of all of these leagues.
Right. They want the money that comes with gambling. They want the increased ratings that comes from gambling, because if people bet on the game, they're more likely to follow it. That's been proven over time. Listen, the first thing when it was called Twitter and now X, believe me, Twitter/X has helped ratings. When all of a sudden people start going, man, are you watching this game? It's amazing. You see a spike in the ratings. And I'm wondering if, first off, do you think Charlie Baker and the NCAA could actually come to an agreement with the gambling world and go, listen, because there are times, Mark, where they'll take a game off the board because of irregular bets. They'll go, no, we're not taking any more bets on this game. In fact, this game's null and void.
David, if we're still betting college baseball games for as little as people watch college baseball, do you really think that they have a shot of getting prop bets off for basketball, football, or anything else? Again, in theory, I understand what he's doing, and it makes sense. I just don't think the powers that be in the gambling world are going to give him the time of day on this. I would, if I'm running a sports book and I saw that, I'd look at the room and go, that's cute.
Well, of course you're not going to be inclined to do it because it's going to cost you money.
Correct.
But I'm just, Charlie Baker could then say, we could go back to how it used to be where you couldn't bet on college sports. I mean, I can go to Congress with that one too. I mean, I'm trying to not even meet you halfway here, because I'm assuming more money is bet on the games than are bet on props.
I would think it's 100-1. I really do.
But I'm just curious how far this goes, and is this something that people actually would go, you know what? NCAA is making sense here. I can support them on this. Now, I still want them to be abolished and go away. But until they do, I could support them on this.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, EB Hill makes no sense at all. I don't get it. I'm having a cleaning person come over tomorrow. Why am I cleaning the house?
Which is really interesting because I am now the Molly maids of my house. We got rid of our cleaning service to save some money. I clean the house. My wife doesn't pre-clean. If I say tomorrow I'm going to clean the house all day, nothing's
right.
Like taking care, you know.
But if you still had the cleaning service, what would she and you be doing the night before?
Cleaning for the cleaners.
The defense rests, Your Honor. Okay, music, here's the problem with that. Okay, and basically that is the deal. I mean, you know, if you get caught, you know, skimming games in college or pro, you're done. But the problem is if you're running the league, okay, but it's happened. I'm trying to prevent it from happening. It's not good for me if it happens. So what? I kick the guy out. And remember, people never think they're going to get caught. Our former producer would like to come on right now as a guest. He is going nuts about what it is we're going to talk about next.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So, CBS promoted this for like 3 weeks. And I don't know if this has mass appeal nationally, but in the Northeast, and a lot of people from the Northeast have moved to Florida. So along the East Coast, I think you think Billy Joel in middle of the country out west is as big a deal as he is in the Northeast and in Florida?
You're probably asking the wrong guy because I was a huge Billy Joel fan my entire life. So I yes would be my answer.
Okay.
But I might be the wrong guy because I really like Billy Joel.
So now I know you stayed up late on Saturday and watched Saturday Night Live, but we had an early show today, so I'm curious, did you stay up and watch CBS taped a Billy Joel concert at Madison Square Garden? Billy Joel had a monthly date for 10 years at Madison Square Garden. He sold out over 100 shows. His last show at the Garden this month, I don't know if it's already taken place or it's going to take place in a couple days, but his run at the Garden every month, he had a monthly date at the Garden. It ends this month. And so they taped his 100th consecutive sold out show and they made it a CBS special. And they promoted the heck out of it for for 3 weeks, all through the NCAA tournament and even the Masters. They promoted it hard. Did you watch it?
I did not.
Okay.
I've seen Billy Joel in concert. So watching a TV concert doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
And Billy Joel, believe it or not, when he was younger, was a maniac on stage.
He was.
Ran around. He'd climb the light stanchions and hang upside down and sing. He was a hell of a performer.
Mm-hmm.
On top of having a great catalog of music.
Right. Now he's a 70-something playing the piano.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now Sonny in our Twitch chat room watched it and loved it, thought it was cool. Okay. You're in the minority, Sonny, and here's why. So the Masters ran long. By the way, sidebar, man was play slow this year. Wow. Now, I know it's windy and what have you, but 6-hour rounds for threesomes. I mean, 440 rounds for twosomes. Come on, guys. Honestly. When is this going to be an issue on the PGA Tour? When are they going to? The Masters actually put a few groups on the clock. That's how slow the play
happen
was.
too often at Augusta. Of
No.
all the places, you don't hear of that very often there.
So anyway, the Masters ran long. You got to do the whole Butler cabin thing. I don't know why CBS thinks they're going to sign off at 7:00. They never sign off at 7:00. The leaders are teeing off at 2:45. You really think they're going to play in less than 4 hours? We're going to do Butler cabin and be off the air at 7? Of course you're running long. CBS scheduled 60 minutes. This just in, it's a 60-minute show. And they scheduled their new hit drama Tracker. It's a drama. It's 60 minutes. Okay. So then the Billy Joel concert. So obviously this concert's going to be late. It's not going to start at 9. It's going to start at 9:20, 9:30. I think the Masters went to like 7:42 or even longer. Yeah. Mark, apparently on the fly, They edited the concert. First off, they took away his entrance. There was no entrance. All of a sudden, the concert started. He's at the piano. He's playing.
Okay.
All right.
Cut a minute and a half there. Nothing wrong
Right.
with that.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, they got commercials and they're trying. So apparently they ended the show midway through Piano Man because CBS as a network decided that the Eastern and Central time zone affiliates needed to go to local news at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. He's literally 3 minutes into Piano Man. And they cut away. And that's it. It was over. It was done.
Now, I didn't see this. I don't think you did either, or maybe you did. What you're telling me then is that they played Allentown and cut Piano Man short.
I don't know if they played Allentown. I did not.
Plays it every damn show, and I'm not sure why.
I understand.
The song sucks.
Okay, but remember, they edited the concert because Billy Joel with commercials. I mean, Billy Joel plays for more than an hour and 20 minutes. He plays twice that long. So they were going to edit the concert anyway. My hope is Allentown didn't make the cut.
Mine as well, for all those that were watching.
But to review, they decided on the fly, well, we need to cut out. Well, let's cut out here. Well, that's midway through Piano Man. I don't know what to tell you, man. Late local news. We got to get to it.
Sing me a song or the Piano Man or more on weather.
Right.
They went with B.
And so the clip that's making, waves on X is, I think it's CBS in New York, Channel 2. And they cut away to, they're teasing, come on up, watch the late local news. And it had something to do with Trump. So you went from Billy Joel midway through the Piano Man to coming up on our late local news, Donald Trump goes on trial tomorrow in New York. And they never went back to it. And it was a network decision. West Coast, Mountain and West, they were fine. East and Central time zones, oh, well, concert's over. Good night, everybody. Now, first off, how many concerts do you see on network television anymore?
None.
None.
That was the thing about this to me is that on network television.
Correct.
Because HBO for the longest time, they'll do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. HBO had a long run of doing concerts in the 80s and 90s. I still have the app. I have the Max app.
Right.
They don't really show concerts. This isn't something that's on television normally.
No, this is not an award show.
Disney Plus has the Taylor Swift show, but there are not a lot of concerts out there. You go to YouTube for those and watch them illegally like everybody else.
This is not one of the 7 country music award shows that are on throughout the year. Never mind all the other music award shows. So, yeah. And they promoted this hard.
Yes, they did.
I mean, you could tell the people that were running CBS are like, oh, you grew up listening to Billy Joel, didn't you guys? This is a big deal to you guys. Where'd you tape them? In New York. Where are you going to run it? Okay. It's a big deal. Before this network gets sold, we're going to jam in this Billy Joel concert. Got it.
Yeah, someone came up with this idea, sold this idea, got this idea through.
Right. And then somebody made the executive decision, we got to get off at 11:30. Why? Why not run to 11:40, 11:42, 11:50? Who cares?
11:34. Let the damn song end, David.
Right. Just let Piano Man go and then go to break. I mean, Paul is a real estate novelist for good, does Davy stay in the Navy for life? I need to know. But anyway, this was a network decision. So the first thing that happens, we've gone through this. If you're living in Fort Myers or Lake City or what have you, you think it's your local affiliate. So you're calling up, leaving first off, and then the calls are going through the switchboard straight into the newsroom. No one's working. There's everybody's on set ready to do the news or in the control room. There's one person sitting in the newsroom answering the phones. Every phone in the room is ringing. People screaming and yelling, what are you doing? At only about 150 affiliates in the Eastern and Central time zones.
Now I want to find out how many calls they got in the markets we're in. Did they really honk people off, you know?
Yes, totally. Yep. Sing us a song, you're a piano man. I'm sorry, time for your late local news. And John, how about our first look at weather?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Sonny, the Heidi game was NBC because NBC had the rights to the AFL. Because remember, what did CBS have on Sundays? 60 Minutes. Yeah, NBC.
Microphone smelled like a beer and out.
I mean,
someone's got to be fired for that, David.
And the thing is, the whole network's at Augusta. I mean, everybody who's important is at Augusta.
So somebody made this decision and it was really way above their pay grade.
And they probably were on the phone trying to get, hey, what are we going to do? This is going to run long. And they probably couldn't reach anybody because they were too busy partying in Augusta. I mean, Vern's last Masters, also
McManus's.
Sean McManus's last
That was a
day.
nice sign off by Nance.
So I didn't watch it.
He signed off from Sean McManus and Vern Lundquist. Thought that was classy.
Uh-huh. It was funny. Nance kept trying to draw Vern in, like when they were giving Scheffler standing ovation on 16, walking up to the green. And Nance, because Vern just lays out. It's part of why he's so great. And Nance says, Vern, that applause could be for you, too. And Vern said, the story here is Scotty Scheffler. Appreciate it, but I mean, I just don't understand. Also, it's not a ratings period for local markets. Mid-April is not a ratings time. I mean, it literally made no sense. What's the difference between 11:30, 11:40, 11:50? There really is none.
None.
Yeah, Brian, a lot of people are not happy about this. And they think about it, they stayed up. Our former producer is going nuts on X. And he said, while I'm bashing CBS, I just want to say your hit TV drama sucks. My wife likes it. Well, Sonny, what's really impressive about Olazabal is this is the only tournament he plays. He's not playing on the Champions Tour.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes until we're out of here along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour is 1 hour away. So, all in all, disappointing Masters, okay Masters, pretty good Masters. I mean, it wasn't a great Masters. You didn't have drama in the last 90 minutes of it. Scheffler was great. I mean, he's fourth youngest to have 2 green jackets. Jack, Tiger, and Seve, the only 3 to have 2 in the closet before him.
Pretty good company right there.
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, combine those 3 won 13 of those suckers.
It was okay to good to me. I enjoyed the wind on Friday, if you know what I mean. It was fun to watch them struggle for a day, but they had the tees so far back on Friday and Saturday. It was tough for guys to make up any ground. There were not a lot of red numbers out there. And I was hoping Saturday that maybe someone would shoot a number early when the winds were a little calmer and give you the impression that, hey, there's a number to be shot out here today. No one really did, David.
You could tell, and they like to do this at a U.S. Open also, you can tell the difference that hard greens make. It's really difficult to play for the bounce, and then what kind of bounce? Am I going to get a big bounce? Am I going to get a really big bounce? And remember, with those greens, if you don't get the bounce you're planning on, okay, you could roll back off the hole. In some cases, you can roll back off the hole into the water. I mean, and then if it bounces over, so when the greens were that hard, Mark, and clearly they were hard even before the winds dried them out. you're like, man, a lot of pins here that it's tough to get within 15 feet of.
And not just tough to get within 15 feet of. You and I are both old enough to remember Crenshaw making long putts. Seemingly no one, Scheffler made a bomb for Eagle
on Saturday,
but there weren't a lot of bombs made. There were a lot of chip-ins on Thursday and Friday. There weren't a lot of bombs made. And one of the things that's great about Augusta is seeing someone make a bomb.
I thought also there were some pin placements. It's like, are you guys trying to find new pin placements? Like where they put the pin on 17 on Saturday. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's like on a slope. I mean, you couldn't, there were 2 birdies there all day. Come on. I mean, it's a 420-yard hole. I mean, seriously, only 2 birdies all day. It's because the break in and around the hole. It's like that one miniature golf hole in which you're like, wow, you don't even know if I can make a 18-inch putt on this. It just, there were a few pins in which I'm like, guys, I get it. You're worried they're going to tear it up, but come on now. I mean, listen, there were a few, and golfers that don't normally complain either. I mean, it's one thing if Patrick Reed starts complaining about something. Everybody just tunes it out. When Adam Scott starts talking about, I don't know, they may have to rethink some of this stuff. Whoa. And he's a past champion. Never mind one of the 10 nicest guys on tour. And but they're terrified, Mark, that course, if it's not windy, is just going to get destroyed.
I did think there was a chance Morikawa's caddy might not be invited back because he did run back on that shot, and they specifically say no running on the ground. So when he paced off the shot on 8, when he was to the right of the green there and he paced it off, he ran back. I was worried that he would be done for the week right then, that they would have to bring in another caddy.
Yes, I'm with you, that they would just show up and they would say, okay, sorry, Colin, you need somebody else to carry the bag for the final 10 holes.
But
there's no running here.
Speaking of caddies, did you see Tommy Fleetwood? His caddy, his longtime caddy was sick, couldn't make it. So he picked up a local Augusta caddy.
Right.
Best finish ever at the Masters.
Yes. I'm really surprised. And we've talked about this. I'm surprised more guys don't, at that course where local knowledge is so important, particularly on the greens. I am surprised more guys don't say to their regular caddy, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Crenshaw took the same guy forever. Jack didn't always take his regular caddy to Augusta.
Well, for the longest time, they had to use the Augusta caddy.
Right. But even after you could bring your own caddy, he didn't always bring his guy.
I will say I've only done it once. Everybody should be able to play with the caddy once. With an actual walking, not a 4 caddy, an actual caddy. He's got your clubs, it's you and he for the round. Everybody that plays golf should have the privilege of doing that once in their life. Nothing better.
So Augusta's talking about in a couple years, by the way, they're going to go to the ball that doesn't go as far. They're going to go to the R&A and USGA golf ball. That means, by the way, 3 of the 4 majors minimum are going to play this golf ball that doesn't go as far. And Fred Ridley of the Masters said, we can't make this course any longer. We can't. And we don't want golf courses to be 8,000 plus yards. And right now, Augusta is planning on going with the R&A USGA golf ball. Now, the PGA Tour is not going to use that. And as of now, the PGA of America, i.e. the PGA Championship, they're not going to it. By the way, Mark, if you and I are running the PGA and the other 3 majors are playing the golf ball that doesn't go as far, then you and I are definitely not playing that ball. I want to stand out. I want the guys thrilled when they come to our tournament. I want them bombing. In fact, I put it in my promotion. I'd have John Daly grip it and rip it. The PGA, where the ball goes farther than anywhere else.
Does it amaze you at all that Scheffler with the foot sweep swings as well as he does coming out of the swing every time?
Yes.
In a day where the swings are a little more robotic than ever before, that more guys swing similarly than we've ever seen, he doesn't.
You mean because he looks like he's firing a slap shot from the point on a power play?
He does.
Yeah. And his balance that's what amazes me. And I'm like, wow, your feet move that much and you're rock solid.
Was he more likable? At least did you watch till the end when he he let out a few primal screams. He acted like he was happy to win.
Well, yeah,
he messed with his caddy a little bit. I thought the whole scene on 18 was gave us a little bit more of him that we don't normally get.
Yeah, he's Pete Sampras. There were times where Sampras smiled. There was times when Sampras cracked a personality. But, Pete was never Agassi. He was never Courier. He wasn't even, Edberg had more personality on the court, for goodness sakes, than Pete Sampras. I just think that's who Scottie Scheffler is. He's great. There's no denying it. He's clearly the best player in the world right now. Now it's funny how quickly the narrative is changed. Now it's what are the LIV golfers going to do? Much was made about by only playing 54 holes. Are they not as sharp? Remember, Rahm won the Masters, but he didn't win it playing for LIV. He won the Masters and 8 months later switched to LIV. Cam Smith, when he won the Open Championship, didn't win it as an LIV player, won it, and a month later went to LIV.
What, they have 4 in the top 10?
Yeah, or top 11. Yeah, they were all in the bottom, as Jim Nance made sure to point out. The top 5 all play on the PGA Tour. That's true. 4 of the next 6 played on the LIV, but what Jim said was true. Once again, even working that into the Masters. Boom!
And when Augusta controls the broadcast, they still have no problem with him throwing a quick left-right at Live Golf.
Oh, yeah, because clearly Augusta's not thrilled with it. Even though 13 guys are in, but 7 of them are past champions.
And others qualify because they won majors that put them in.
Correct. But their qualifications are running out soon, like DeChambeau. He won the 2020 U.S. Open. That gets him 1 more year of the majors.
Right. He got himself back in Augusta by his finish because top 12 in ties return next year. So he would have been.
Right. But he was in next year's anyway. But like some of these guys, their exemptions are going to run out here soon. And the Masters is on record as saying, well, if we think you're good enough and worthy, we'll invite you. But like this year, Taylor Gooch has won like 4 LIV events in the last 12 months. And he was a top 30 player in the world before he went to the LIV. Was he at the Masters, Mark?
No.
No, he wasn't. No. No.
No, and this just in, the Masters was just fine without him.
Yeah, right. Augusta's going, really? We can't play this tournament because Taylor Gooch isn't there? Seriously?
And CBS has determined that those guys don't move the needle because they very rarely, they showed a lot of other players who were playing poorly and not showing live guys. They've made the conscious effort to say, we're not including you in our broadcast unless absolutely positively necessary, unless you're part of the narrative of this year's winner.
Like had to show DeChambeau. Okay. Still kind of buried him on Sunday when he was on the fringe, but, had to show him obviously Saturday. He's in the final group, leading most of the day. What are you going to do? But yeah, like Cam Smith had a run where he made 3 birdies and 4 holes or something like that. They did show him, blasting out of the sand for eagle on 2 because he started 3-3 on Sunday. It was 3 under through 2. Got to within 3 or 4 of the lead. Okay. Did you see Cam Smith the rest of the day?
No,
not really. No. Well, and he's got 3 top 6 finishes at Augusta now.
They did show him when he blew one way left on, I think, 15, and had to get down on his knees to hit it back to the fairway or whatever it was there.
Listen, I was impressed they showed Phil on 18 yesterday. I was. I'm like, I'll be damned. Because they barely showed more than that of him last year when he finished T2. So at least, they showed his approach and they showed his putt. And I went, I'll be darned. I did notice they put a little package together for Tiger yesterday, never mentioned his score. That's when I went, he must not have done well. So, of course, had to race to the phone and go, I'll be darned he's last.
Well, and that's where, Shipley was talking about how gracious Tiger was and how they talked all the way around the course. That's because he's in last place.
Right.
Tiger didn't care. If Tiger cared, he wouldn't have said a word to you.
It was neat, though, on the range. He had Charlie, his 15-year-old son. Of course, I thought it was hysterical. It looked and sounded like Charlie was giving him swing advice. I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, there's respect for your kids and all, but I mean, Mark, we love our kids, you and I. We're good dads. Okay, we're pretty understanding dads. If we were Tiger Woods and our kid was giving us swing advice, how quickly would we go, I'm sorry, are you having an out-of-body experience?
I might hit him with the club. Just the grip. I might turn it over and just whack him on top of the head with the grip and say, enough already.
I mean, I don't say this very often to you, but do you know who I am? I mean, how long does it take for it's like, listen, I know you're feeling your oats right now and all that, but
you finished 15th in the junior event last week. I've won 15 majors. How about stepping off just a little bit?
I mean, you're only allowed here because of me, okay? I mean, just take it easy there, big fella. So, all right. So the Masters has come and gone. It was okay. Hats off to Scheffler on a roll here. I don't know how much golf he's going to play between now and the PGA, in all seriousness.
I don't know if we see him.
I don't think we will. And I'll be curious what his prep is going into the PGA. And hey, let's be honest. The role he's on, I mean, I'd love for him to play well and have a chance, because if he wins the PGA, he's got a real shot to run this table. Along the network, thanks for listening. Diamond District bonus hours next.
Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, Sonny, I think it's much more reduced than that. No, I think it's like top 8 in ties, top 12. It's a much. I'll look it up.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's the Diamond District bonus hour on this Monday after the Masters, Monday after the NBA regular season concluded. Final days of the NHL regular season. Both hockey and basketball playoffs begin in full on Saturday. There's NBA playoff action with play-in games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but the full 7-game series begin on Saturday. Same with hockey. Still to be determined who's playing who and where and all that, when. Just give it a little bit of time. 1 to 2 games left in the hockey season, depending on your favorite team. And our poll question deals with the NBA playoffs, and we will ask it later on in the week for the NHL playoffs. What's your level of interest? From all in to not even going to turn it on.
I will say that 48% of our audience says they're either all of it or some of it. 41% of our audience says they're not watching any of the NBA playoffs.
Okay. All right. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. No Trent to chime in on this poll question today. Travel difficulties. Couldn't make it back in time for the show today. He will be on the show tomorrow, or else that's it. We're done with him. Got to draw the line.
That's so funny from a guy who's sitting on the other end, not having to worry about running the board, getting the podcast up, and doing all the other things that are involved with the show. That is really cute, David.
It sure is. The guy is 350 miles away going, listen, either be here or that's it. I mean, we got a lot of people lining up to get up at 4:30 in the morning to make, $8.71 an hour or whatever it is. I don't even know if it's that much. But anyway, Trent will be back tomorrow.
I'm actually fired up for the play-in games. Maybe because the Heat are playing the Sixers, but I've got some, and then you got the Lakers playing the Pelicans. These play-in games are as exciting as they've been on both sides.
Steph and the Warriors, is this the end? If they lose to Sacramento and or they win, but then lose and don't get out of the play-in, can we finally say, okay, enough? Their run is over. It was only 2 years ago they won the title. But can we say, okay, this is cute. This is a nice 10-year run. It's over. 6 finals, 4 rings, done, kaput. So got that at stake as well. I will say what's interesting, just quickly before we move on. So is it okay if you're the Celtics to get to the finals and to lose to the Nuggets? How would you grade that season? You get to the finals, which, Boston's won a ton of games here in the last 8 years, Mark. You know how many times they've been to the finals? Once. They've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals 4 or 5 times. I'm pretty sure the only time they've gone to the finals was 2 years ago.
Would getting to the to me, it would be enough, but I don't think it will be to that organization. They have made some changes. They added Holiday, they added Porzingis. They think they can win a title.
Right. But I will say they've only played them twice this year. Denver's handled them both times. So, the whole, what do you do with Jokic? I mean, what can anybody do with Jokic? If for as good as you are, Mark, if the other team has the best player on the floor, what do you do?
The question is that who has the next best 2 or 3, if you know what I mean? Like Boston should be right there.
They should.
When you're ranking the top 8 players, you have the best player for Denver, and then how many of the next 7 are Boston players?
I get you. Totally with you. I mean, do you make the argument you think your next 4 are better than Murray for Denver? I wouldn't go that far. I'd put Murray ahead of Porzingis. But I'm just curious, if you're running that organization, your best record in the league by, hell, you won the East by 14, 15 games. And you've got more wins by like 6 or 8 than anybody out west, don't you? So, I mean, you're clearly best team in the league. You lost in Game 7 of the Eastern Finals last year. You go to the NBA Finals this year. You got home court. Denver beats you because, well, Jokic.
Because they're better.
Can you live with that and not make major changes, or are you going to freak out? Because if you think about it, the Niners are in that situation right now. I mean, the Niners have made, 4 of the last 5 NFC championship games? Have made 2 Super Bowls? Had the lead in the fourth quarter of both? I mean, if you're the Niners, I mean, is anything outside winning the final game of the year acceptable?
No, by the way, in terms of the San Francisco 49ers. No, it's not. But I don't think Boston's in the same exact situation.
I don't think they'll get bounced early, even though they're likely going to play Philly or Miami in the first round. I don't think they get bounced early. But, boy, if they did, if I'm the head coach, and I know you just got an extension, but, yeah, I don't know if Brad Stevens can bring you back. Just especially with Jeff Van Gundy on staff. Just saying. We mentioned the Niners a moment ago. First off, former Niner Buckner, who's a defensive tackle with the Colts now. He got traded a few years ago. He just signed a $23 million 2-year extension as the D tackles are getting paid. I mean, that's the 6th contract this offseason in which a defensive tackle's made $22 million a year or more. Huh. But did you see what Dion said over the weekend?
I missed it.
Okay. So Dion last week had said something to the effect of, listen, I don't know if I'm going to let my kid and Travis Hunter, there are certain organizations I'm just not going to let them play for. I'm going to let those organizations know. They don't bother drafting them. Not interested in playing for you. Okay. There are people who have suggested to Caleb Williams that he should have done that with the Bears. That should have said, listen, I've taken a look at your track record. It's no good. I don't want to go there. Pulling Eli. Archie did all the public bemoaning of the Chargers. It all stuck, and did that stick?
Not one bit, by the way.
No.
Not a bit.
No, Eli and Archie pulled in Elway. By the way, did that stick to Elway? I mean, it did with my grandmother. My grandmother held it against John Elway forever. But did that stick on John Elway?
It stuck longer with Elway than it did with Eli.
And Elway was proven right because a year after he did it, the Colts got up and moved from Baltimore and went to Indianapolis. But you're right, Mark. It didn't stick to Eli at all. I mean, the Mannings gave the Chargers the middle finger. Archie Manning publicly said, that organization? Hell no. Not for my kid. And the funny thing was, 2 years later, they're 14-2. But, so Dion came out and said, okay, my kid, Travis Hunter, 6 teams. That's it. That's all they can play for. I'm not making this up.
Good luck.
Now, didn't Dion played for the Niners, played for the Cowboys, played for the Commanders, didn't he?
Yes.
Late in his career. Played for the Falcons, obviously. That's who drafted him. Didn't he also play for the Ravens?
For the Ravens, right.
Okay. So those 5 teams, they're okay. All the other teams in the league, which one would you pick? Yeah, because 6 teams, and he put those 5 on it.
He put those 5 on it.
Yep, and one more. Yep. Remember, his son's a quarterback, and Travis Hunter is a wide receiver / DB.
I have no idea. New England?
No. Philadelphia.
Okay.
I mean, the first thought was he didn't go Kansas City. Now, I could understand with his kid, they're not going to take him because of Mahomes, but anyway, that's it.
But they also, the Kansas City just got those horrible rankings by the players as far as teams to play for.
Right. They're like 31st in the player survey in terms of how they're treated and their facilities and all that. Yeah. So Dion is 6 teams. That's it. Niners, Cowboys, Commanders, Ravens, Falcons, and the Eagles.
And the Eagles. Okay, that's his other team that right now he thinks highly of, apparently, and the way they run their business. I mean, there are a lot more than 6 teams out there that are running their business properly in the National Football League. And I don't think that's enough to get teams to not draft either Hunter or his kid. Maybe.
So I found this interesting. How are you going to engineer this again? I mean, are you just going to say a year from now, don't bother drafting my kid unless you're boop, 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 and boop, because he ain't interested in playing for you? Okay. What are you going to do? Sit out a year and enter the 2026 draft? I mean,
what I'm surprised is that some of the teams he played for that he put on the list, that Atlanta's actually on the list. And I'm not joking around. You would think, you really want your kid to go play for the Cowboys? Must be everything around playing for the Cowboys, not playing for Jarrah.
Now, I will say, with the way Jarrah's handling the Dak negotiations, there may be a job open in Dallas next year. Okay. Philadelphia? What, they're going to bail on Jalen Hurts? They're just starting to pay him. You think the Niners are going to bail on Brock Purdy? Just took him to the Super Bowl.
Think Baltimore is ready to bail on Lamar?
Right? I mean, the Commanders are going to draft the kid from LSU this year. Probably. Maybe. Some people think they're going to take Drake May at 2. Most people think they're taking Jaden Daniels. So, we'll see. I mean, there's not much that Dion says that he doesn't follow through on.
Just want to see how he follows through on this one.
Right. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, all 25 minutes away, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you like the Caitlin Clark thing on morning update there?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
The jokes were okay, but then it all was a thing for her to talk about all these, and
Well,
I just
she did 20 seconds on that. That's all.
the jokes they were all right. They did an okay job. She delivered them okay. It wasn't great. It was great for them to have her on. Nice gesture to get her on the show. Like the play that they had because the other guy makes fun of the WNBA all the time.
Right.
So that was funny.
I will say his jokes that he made were funny.
Yes, they were.
She
doesn't. I don't think she's good on TV. Like, I don't think she's good in her commercials. I don't think she's good on TV. I like watching her play basketball. This is like when Larry Bird was doing the Feelin' 7-Up commercial, David. It didn't go well.
You're obviously just paying attention to the show, aren't you? Because we've actually done a decent amount of NBA talk.
Must have just got on board.
Yeah, you must have just.
We got an NBA interview. We've done
part
of our poll question. We've actually done 3 NBA segments today.
Yeah.
I opened the damn show talking the NBA. I mean, second segment I went NBA after we went Masters. I would agree with that, Ryan. And that's not everybody's meant to be on camera. It doesn't work for everybody. She will get better, I'm sure.
This is majors going on here, guys. I've got massages that are being canceled, rescheduled, and we got a lot going on. Yeah, Roy's coming on before the draft.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with some final thoughts, a pick or two coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. We've talked a little NBA today, along with the Masters. One more golf thing. Do you think this will serve as kind of a kick in the you-know-what to the LIV guys? Because people turned on them this week again.
I will say that there's no doubt it was funny how much people have turned on him, because my mom's a casual sports fan. She's not a diehard, but she loves the Masters. And she goes, I like that Cam Smith. And I let her go for a little bit because I know her feelings on Live Golf. And I went, you know, he plays on the Live Tour. Stopped, looked at me and went, well, I don't like him anymore.
There you go.
It's that simple for a lot of people.
Here's what just to go a little further. And obviously, listen, Miller and Moulton have been open to the idea of LIV in part because, first off, we see golf as a worldwide thing and not just the PGA Tour is all about America. And the PGA Tour has ruined the European Tour, now called the DP World Tour. I mean, they've shredded it in what they're forcing
by making players play so many events on the in order to be a member of the PGA Tour, you have to play. They made it virtually impossible for guys to play both tours. Pick one or the other is what they said 20 years ago.
And so, and we think that golf worldwide, there are parts of this world that, PGA Tour is not interested in Australia, not interested in Asia and what have you. Well, the golf's actually really popular there. That part of the LIV appeals to us. Number two is we're guys who, don't have contracts. We're independent contractors. We relate to golfers and tennis players about the whole, making your own schedule, doing what you can and what have you. And also, Miller and Moulton have a little, we're not exactly crazy about being told what to do, unless you're going to compensate us really well, which in our case has hardly ever happened.
And hardly ever means never.
Correct.
He was being nice.
Right. Trying to make it sound as if like we've had a decent career when, we know the truth. So, but, the final leaderboard, at least the first page, the LIV golfers were all over the second page, but also, Rahm, 9 over, DJ didn't make the cut, Koepka 9 over, some of their big names, didn't do well. And they're being mocked. I mean, when Wyndham Clark is mocking the LIV guys after he shoots a 1 over 73 on Thursday. And he's like, oh, yeah, but, don't take DeChambeau seriously. They only play 54 holes, so it's not like he's going to go the distance. And besides, he shot what yesterday? I may shoot that tomorrow. Oh, okay. So, there were a few of the PGA Tour guys who, felt emboldened at Augusta to let it out. Jon Rahm gave an interview yesterday in which he said, it was interesting. This is the first event in which I'm at that the PGA guys are at. And he goes, some guys came up and hugged me. And there are some guys who I thought I was friendly with who death stare. I'm dead to them. Oh. And I got to admit, I think he was talking about Tiger. I thought when Rahm, we don't know, he didn't mention names, but I thought when he did that, I thought he was talking about Tiger. I didn't think he was talking about Rory. I thought he was talking about Tiger.
Interesting. And it seems that The live guys are the ones now saying we need the merger.
After 3-4 weeks ago, it was the PGA Tour guys.
Right.
Right. So, okay. And now clearly the best golfer in the world, like when John Rahm made the move to LIV, people were like, that's the best golfer in the world. Now, no. Scotty Scheffler's the best golfer in the world. Period. End of sentence.
And if it would have just been Rahm instead of Morikawa, even falling apart a little bit towards the end, but the top 5 finish of someone on LIV being there at the end, as opposed to DeChambeau, who Saturday and Sunday couldn't make a putt. I mean, I don't think that was, I think his putter got cold. But if you look at it, it's like he couldn't, the most important part of the game is what? Putting. You got to get the ball in the hole. And DeChambeau couldn't make a putt to save his life on the weekend.
I actually thought that in terms of ball striking over 4 days, I know they got the tee to green stats, and I know Scheffler won it. But for 4 days, I thought DeChambeau was the second best ball striker in the tournament. He didn't get anything out of, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, except when he holed a shot from the fairway on 18 on Saturday. But, I mean, he putted horribly for those 3 days.
And he's not been a great putter anyhow, but he putted really well Thursday, putted okay Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He was a mess on the greens.
But I think it's going to be interesting. If you've made the jump to the LIV, you're in on this thing. And they got slapped around on the leaderboard to some degree, even though I could argue they only had 13 guys in the field. They had 4 of them finish in the top 11. But they got slapped around, and then they got slapped around publicly also. And also, Augusta wouldn't even let Norman in the tournament. He had to buy a ticket on the secondary market to walk the grounds. And I'm wondering between now and the PGA, Mark, whether or not some of those guys get serious, if you know what I mean.
Well, we won't hear from any of them because none of their tournaments matter. That's the one thing that's been determined. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares on television. Nobody cares in public. And it looks, Rahm particularly looks as if he has buyer's remorse. The rest of them, they're cashing their checks and they're laughing, David, at all of us for even bringing it up. They've got so much money, it doesn't matter. But Rahm seems to have buyer's remorse or selling out remorse, whichever one you want to call it.
Well, that's certainly the conclusion that people came to this week at Augusta. They clipped the parts that they thought fit that narrative and they used it. I could clip just as many, and I'm not, supporting one side over the other. But I mean, there were moments there. Rahm was smiling with Scheffler. Okay. Patted him on the back. They were talking, amicably with each other. I mean, that to me didn't look like a guy who was completely miserable. But there were times when you could take a snapshot and go, man, look at Rahm. Wishes he was anywhere else. Look at him now. He's irrelevant. Okay. But I'm just saying, Mark, I mean, if you're all in on this, if everybody plays in the 21st century, everybody plays the disrespect card, the us against the world card.
Yeah, hard to play the us against the world card when you've got that much money. But I understand the point that you're making is the competitiveness of them going to rise up here and say, what do we do now?
Right. I mean, Cam Smith's gone nearly 2 years without winning a major. Koepka's going to defend his PGA title. Okay, John Rahm. Got to play a little better than you did at Augusta there, big fella. Come on now. And DJ, is your career over? Are you done? You had a great run. You're going in the World Golf Hall of Fame. You are. But are you done? You're 40 now, and it's like, just, I'm guessing checks. I can't be taken seriously anymore. Oh, okay. I mean, which is it?
Well, I think this VIL tour has been good to me. I think my game's pretty sharp right now.
What was the name of the tour again?
VIL.
Listen, this whole, Rom wants them to go to 72 holes. Can't they keep their name LIV? Isn't it just like the Big Ten? So what? The numbers don't align. It doesn't matter.
Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Hey, before we get to good, bad, and ugly and all that stuff, I know we mentioned this in passing 3 hours ago during the starting five, but did you see the scene at Rupp Arena yesterday?
For the press conference for the new coach.
I mean, Rupp Arena's huge. You ever been?
No, I've never been.
I've only been one time, and it was for a Midnight Madness deal. Billy Gillespie's first Midnight Madness. And so I think it was 06, 07. Anyway. I mean, it's like 21,000 and change, Rupp Arena. It's huge. They sold it out for a presser. The introduction of Mark Pope as head coach. I thought the middle of last week they were ready to burn the town down. I thought they hated the hire. I thought they thought it was a joke.
They did.
Well,
they're
they
stuck
didn't
with
come,
him now, and they've got to support him. It's Big Blue Nation, David. That's all that matters.
Well, but they didn't come to boo him. They didn't come with pitchforks. I mean, they came as if it was a family reunion.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. Stay home, watch the Masters?
Oh, come on.
What?
Over at Kentucky basketball press conference? You're not understanding the importance of this.
A press conference. It's televised live on the radio. I think a local affiliate ran it live. You can download it off a website. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's a press conference. He got the job 5 days ago. He's Mark Pope. I know he's one of theirs, but come on now. That was for Mark Pope. Imagine if they hired Patino.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
What was that?
Hell.
1865 we start. Lincoln dies today.
Well, he got shot in the head.
It took him a while to die, like 8 hours.
What'd you expect?
I just pointing it out. 1896, the first Olympics, the modern Olympic Games close in Athens. 1910, President Taft becomes the first president to throw out the first pitch.
Okay.
The Titanic sunk today in 1912.
That's a biggie.
Ray Kroc opens the first McDonald's Inc. in Des Plaines, Illinois today in 1955. Thought that would be big for you, David.
Well, I may celebrate by hitting the drive-through.
And getting number 3?
Okay, it's a number 2, by the way.
It's a number 2 now?
Yeah, quarter pounder with cheese is a number 2.
It was a number 3 forever, wasn't it?
I think so, but in the last couple of years, it's a number 2.
It should be number 1, but that whole Big Mac thing, they got to. Fuzzy wins in a playoff at the Masters in 79 today, beating Ed Snead and Tom Watson, winning for the first time in his first appearance at Augusta.
And no rookie's done it since.
Ben Crenshaw wins his first Masters today in 84. And it was 5 years ago today that the Notre Dame Cathedral catches fire in France.
They haven't opened that sucker back up yet, have they?
No. Da Vinci was born today, and Seth Rogen's 42. And that's all I got, David. What did I miss?
Wow, Seth Rogen on the same list as Da Vinci, huh?
Right. Not a lot of birthdays today.
Jackie Robinson made his major league debut today in 47. And then in 97, 50 years to the day, Bud Selig, one of the best things he did as commissioner, he announced that they were retiring Jackie Robinson's number league wide. But there were like 21 guys who were wearing number 42, and he said, you guys are grandfathered in, but once you're done, your team can't distribute the number. And so the last 42 in Major League Baseball was Mariano Rivera.
It's time for someone to take back.
I'll figure this thing out one of these days. You gotta stop it before you start it.
Once again, it's why Trent has to come back tomorrow or he's done.
He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to London for the good, where an owner of a cat scared his cat with the vacuum. I mean, not on purpose, but the cat took off. Cat was named Oreo, or is named Oreo. Went up the chimney. It was trapped for 2 days. Finally, the fire department came and was able to free the cat from the chimney. For the bad, we go to Cambridge, Mass., where police were called to the Cambridge Wren and Latin School because Officer Frank Greenidge was using the toilet, and he placed his firearm on a bathroom stall hook by the trigger guard. I thought those were for your jackets.
They are.
For him, it was for the gun, and it unintentionally discharged at the school.
Yeah.
No one was hurt, and the school day went on uninterrupted. Finally, the ugly. We go to British Columbia, where things could have been ugly for a driver as he was reaching for some chicken. Unfortunately, while reaching for the chicken, he veered off the road and took on a cement embankment. He was able to leave the scene without major injuries. The kicker is not only did he get a ticket for reckless driving, but his insurance was expired, so he got a $600 ticket for that as well.
Oh, man.
All for the chicken.
And it's in British Columbia, so I'm guessing it wasn't even the Colonel. Was it Chick-fil-A? Was it Zaxby's? I mean...
No word on where the chicken was from, David, and whether it was a leg, a thigh, or a breast.
Ooh, yeah, I hope it was one of the bigger pieces.
I'm a thigh guy, personally. Best piece of the chicken, in my opinion. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 15th, 2024.
Well, no association tonight. The 2 play-ins tomorrow, 2 play-ins on Wednesday. Then 2 more play-ins on Thursday and 2 more on Friday. But here's the deal. It's a big night in the NHL. Big. Although Tampa Bay is playing a completely meaningless game. They're hosting Buffalo. No, I mean completely meaningless. They're locked in as the first wild card. Buffalo's missed the playoffs. About the only thing left at this point is, what's his face there? Kucherov trying to win a scoring title. And also, isn't he at 98 assists, something like that? I mean, So Ottawa's at the Rangers. If the Rangers win, they clinch the division and the President's Trophy and the number 1 seed in the East. Anything less than a win, Boston and Carolina, but especially Carolina, can still win the President's Trophy, and in Carolina's case, they can win the division. Mark, your Wings haven't played 2 games in 2 days this big in 8 years?
Every bit of it.
So the Wings have a home and home with Montreal. If they win them both, strong likelihood they'll make the playoffs for this reason. They're tied with Washington for the final playoff spot. Caps own the tiebreak, but the Caps schedule is hard. The Caps are hosting Boston tonight.
And Boston has to play. The events of the weekend, they have not locked up first overall in the division. So Boston is going to play hard trying to get this win tonight.
Boston needs to win one of their final 2 games to win the division. If they only get 1 point in their final 2 games, the Panthers with a win tomorrow can win the division because they own the tiebreak. But the Caps, Mark, host Boston tonight, one of the 5 best teams in the league. And then I believe either Tuesday or Wednesday, they got to go to Philly. It's Philly's last game of the year, and it's an absolute must for them if they're going to have any chance to make the playoffs. So, Mark, right now, I would bet if your Wings go WW against the Canadians in this home and home, they'll make the playoffs.
Man, I hope so.
Do you think the Caps are going to beat Boston at home and then go to Philly and beat the Flyers?
Well, they're going to beat the Flyers.
Also, the game's tomorrow, too. They got to play these two
back-to-back for both the Wings and for the Caps.
Right. Now, it's not much travel for both Detroit, to Montreal, and also Washington to go to Philly. But I'd much rather have Detroit's schedule than Washington's, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Islanders at the Devils tonight. Islanders with a win clinch 3rd place in the division and guarantee themselves a playoff spot. Anything less than a win, and they probably have to worry about being a wild card. The Penguins, meanwhile, have to win their last 2. They're a point back of both Detroit and Washington. They're home for Nashville. Nashville's been playing really well. It's Nashville's final game of the year. I'm trying to look and see whether or not Nashville, I don't believe has anything to play for tonight. They're locked in as the first wild card out west. So that could be a break for Sid and the Penguins.
They've played. This is the last game for Nashville. Vegas is 3 back with 2 games left, so Vegas could catch them.
Well, it's true. I guess Nashville could slide down to the second wild card, right?
It's possible.
So, yeah, you could make the argument even Nashville needs the points tonight. So there's 2 games out west. Edmonton, they're pretty much locked in second place. They lost the showdown with the Canucks over the weekend. Vancouver's going to win that division. And the LA Kings are trying to fight off Vegas. One of them will finish in 3rd place. One of them will be the second wild card. They're going to have a tough playoff draw no matter what. So there you have it. That's the NHL tonight. Big night, except for the Lightning. Completely meaningless.
You're exactly right. The Lightning playing, that's a team nobody wants to play in the first round of the playoffs.
No. And
this is actually a good thing for the rest of the league, maybe a bad thing for the Lightning. They've locked in this spot. I don't know if they lose any intensity, if you know what I mean, over the course of this week, this is the first time they've basically can breathe since what, mid-March, David?
I was going to say January, actually, but yeah, they've been going hard for a while here. It's the only completely meaningless game on the NHL slate. Every Major League Baseball team is in action today. Red Sox, of course, because they're running the Boston Marathon today. And today is the 11th anniversary of the bomb at the Boston Marathon. But the Red Sox at 11 o'clock today are hosting Cleveland. The Patriots Day game for the Red Sox. Marlins are home for the Giants. Rays are home for the Angels. But everyone is in action today. And all is right with the world, Mark, because you know what team has the best record in Major League Baseball?
The New York Yankees?
There you go, Mark. All is right with the world again. That's according to most baseball fans. Yeah, they're 12.
Or everything that possibly could go wrong has gone wrong.
Yeah, one or the other.
It's kind of like our poll question. You're either all in for the NBA playoffs or you're not watching any of it. That's how people feel about the Yankees. They're either all in on that statement or they're anti everything you just said.
Right. But, it's Major League Baseball's best chance to be talked about on a national radio or TV show. The Yankees have the best record in the sport. Can they get 5 minutes from the talking heads?
And largely the only thing we've talked about is how bad Angel Hernandez is. Did you see the strikeout? I believe it was in the Texas game. 3 pitches, all outside, all called strikes consecutively.
The final one was almost 7 inches outside. They say it's the worst blown strike call since they've been keeping, whatever that technology is.
Umpire auditor.
Yeah.
Worst one.
Right. The announcer said, well, boys, better be up there swinging. Angel's got a dinner date.
Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your Monday. Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd